Well, a very good Monday. I think it's Monday everywhere. A very happy Monday to everyone. Hello, chat. Hello. How are we doing? We doing okay? Excellent. Excellent. It is a bank holiday Monday in the UK, which I definitely remembered, and that's why we're having a live stream. I know when days and things happen. I didn't get blindsided by it and think, oh my goodness, I'm free and I can do a live stream. That'll be good. We should do that. I'll do the thing I was planning to do. Excellent. Oh, you like the lo-fi music? Good. If you want to see it, then it's you can listen to it on Cat Radio. That may still be going as its own thing. I haven't got music here, which should be fine. Maybe I do. Maybe I do have music here. Maybe it's just a little bit too loud. You'll have to let me know if you can hear the music, because I can't necessarily hear it because I have different listening things. Do we have background music? Is there a BGM? It's there, but it's quiet. That is fine. I'm happy with it being quiet. Maybe I'm just quiet. That was my audio. That should be better. Now it should be audible. Put it like that. We should have music. This is the bit about the music. I never know what's happening with the music. We have music. That's good. That's good. You have sound. I can make it less loud and less echoey. Okay. Okay. You love the videos. Excellent. We're definitely going to be having even more videos in the coming week. It was kind of slow last week, but that's because of future videos that I'm planning to put out this week, which is better, much better. Good, better music. Oh, yeah, I know why you could hear an echoing Von Carmian clone, because I was listening to my own stream, which is a crazy thing to do, just to make sure I could hear it. Should have definitely had a different monitor for that. Whoops, never mind. It works. It works. Okay. Well, things are good. I have not yet played against the new Orc Codex. It's something I plan to do. I have seen people play it, so I know roughly how they work. Roughly. But I've only seen 2 of the detachments and theorize on the other ones. Yeah. It's looking good. They look fun. They definitely look fun. Orc players look like they're going to be enjoying themselves for a while. Oh yes, I verified that the codex exists. Next, I'm looking forward to the Chaos Space Marine Codex, which should be out next week. And if I understand Games Workshop correctly, at the same time, they'll be releasing Index Emperor's Children on the community website. So that'll come out next week, possibly the week after. That's when it should be. Then it'll be, haha, here is a whole new Chaos Space Marine detachment, although we don't know exactly what units they will get other than Noise Marines, Lucius the Eternal. After that, it's an unknown. They could get absolutely nothing, which would kind of suck if they're a lot like the World Eaters and the Death Guard, where, yes, you're definitely a Chaos Space Marine faction. However, you don't get any of the bonus units like the Bikers, the regular Legionaries. You have to have your own weird cultists. So they may end up getting their own thing, well, their own cultists, their own units, not necessarily by the end of 10th edition, probably by the end of 10th edition, but in 11th edition, it could happen. You're planning on starting a Death Watch army? Oh, and you couldn't pick a chapter, so you have to have all of the chapters. That works. Make sure that just for the near future, I would go for a pretty generic Deathwatch army. I've just done the video last week on the Deathwatch units that are going to disappear, so they won't be viable anymore, so you may want to follow that as a guide. We know that things like bikers with like plasma guns and melter guns, they won't be around, they'll just be in Legends, and then the points won't get changed, which can be not amazing. General Dirt, my videos helped you get into Genestealer Cult. I'm glad. Good. It's a fun army. As long as you're all having fun with your armies, that's the important thing. Chaos Space Marines are getting double the detachments of Custodes and Tau. Yeah, well, there are... The Chaos Space Marines are a very big faction. They're one of the oldest factions. I can understand that compared to Custodes, who have like 3 different kinds of Custodes men and 3 different kinds of Sisters of Silence, I can see why the Chaos Space Marines get a whole other separate thing. Like way more detachments. Which could be fun. They stopped making Age of Sigmar Beastmen because they're going to put them into Emperor's Children? Well, yeah. Maybe not that. But we are seeing that Games Workshop has reached like the peak. The maximum that they can possibly produce in plastic. And their warehouse is closed for the moment, which seems to be for like stock taking or redistribution or organization. So it may be something like we can't produce any new kits. We would like to produce new kits, but to do that we need to stop making some old kits. Otherwise there isn't enough space in the warehouse and enough things that they can make with molds, however the moldy process work. Either way, we've reached a peak in the amount of stuff they can do. What do I think of the new art of the Chaos Space Marines? I'm like, it's fine. It's okay. The Chaos may be like the 8 Legions, but we know that 4 of the Legion... 9? Well, there's 9 Legions, 9 Chaos Space Marine Legions. World Eaters, Emperor's Children, Death Guard, they already have their own codexes. Emperor's Children's getting their own index. Black Legion will probably be the generic one we already have, where you get to pick your Mark of Chaos, and then you get lethal hits or sustained hits on a 5+ and a 6+, depending on the mark, depending on if it's shooting or combat, and depending on whether you pick lethal hits or sustained hits. Then we've got Iron Warriors, Alpha Legion, Night Lords, and... why am I always missing one? Always missing one. Word Bearers, yeah. So maybe the Word Bearers will become the generic one we already have where you pick your Mark of Chaos. That would match their style. Or maybe just that would be the one that gets molded in together. Black Legion and Word Bearers together. Could happen. Then Iron Warriors will be a more vehicle-focused detachment. Alpha Legion, we know that they've mentioned there'll be a sneaky kind of detachment, so that could be them. But we also know there's going to be a cultist-focused detachment, which could be Vashtor-related. See, Vashtor's a weird one. He has a lot of cultist people, but he also has a lot of the vehicle focus because he's the demon lord of weird and wibbly demon machines. So that could be a way of doing it. Veteran squads and a Primus? Which one's the Primus? Primus? We don't have a Primus in the Death Watch. Is that the captain, the Watchmaster? Or veteran squad? I mean, a veteran squad should be fine. That is the Deathwatch unit. Yeah, Vashtor is here for Chaos Tech support. Absolutely. The new Combat Patrol looks good. The new Combat Patrol is some cultists, some possessed, some legionaries, and the sorcerer that puts demons in people. It's not a bad set. It's about 420, 460 points. I think Games Workshop said it's going to be 460 points, something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Word Bearers could be more of a, here's your more demon-y side of stuff. You're possessing things. So that could be Vashtor style. It's so uncertain. There should be a Terminator-focused one, so that's going to, like, Terminator's Unchosen, so maybe that's the Black Legion. We won't know till we get it next week. Primaris Marines. Got it. Yeah, Veteran Squads and Primaris Marines. That's a pretty safe Deathwatch Legion. Deathwatch Army. Got a Warhound Titan. Robert. Warhound Titan? Is it the official, the real, the Games Workshop Warhound Titan? Because that's a really big model. And really expensive. I've seen a lot of people do what is called a China cast, where they have it shipped from China in like very obviously 3D printed style. But a big Warhound Titan. Okay, good. That's fun. Can I gift some memberships? I can gift some memberships. People can have some memberships. Thank you very much for coming to the live stream today. There we go. Oh, yeah. I gifted 0 free memberships. It should be 5 memberships. There we go. It's going to ping through. There we go. Now we're getting it. People can be members. Yay. The pinging will continue. Is the pinging audible? Maybe I'm the only one hearing the pinging, which is fine because it should be an alert for me and it's just appearing on screen for you. That's good. Yeah. So Warhound Titan, are you going to put it into, say, a sister's army? Because that's a good option. Well, yes, maybe. You were chosen. Good. The pinging can be heard. Excellent. That means that all of the things are working. Every live stream, one new thing will go wrong. We haven't found it yet for this live stream, but eventually we'll get there. As long as it's a different thing wrong compared to previously, then it's all good. I've played against Custodes with a Warhound Titan, which is not quite what you'd expect, but yeah, because you've got the big stumpy robot. It was fun to play against the big stumpy robot. It's definitely a fun thing. Games Workshop made a new Orc Codex, so you need to buy it again. Yeah. I have seen it. Well, I have seen it being played. It looks a lot of fun. Working on Chaos Knight Sindri. Good. Get the spiky bits in. Then you can have more Chaos Space Marines, maybe? I always think the Chaos Knights work better as allies, rather than their own thing, which is just loads of War Dogs. Are you doing War Dogs, or are you doing big Chaos Knights? We can come back to that when we do talk about the Chaos Knights. Yeah, the Warhound is 1,000 points-ish. It's just an arbitrary points limit. I got slightly annoyed when Stu Black was doing oh yeah, we're at such and such an event somewhere in America. I don't know all of the cities in America. Then there was an event there and he was like, oh yeah, and someone brought a Warhound Titan. I mean, he's not going to win. And I was like, oh, what's the matter, Stu Black? Is it possibly that Games Workshop deliberately did not balance the points for this particular unit?
I like your content. I started Gene Stealers and they're supper. Do you think Gene Stealers need the most?
Ooh, thank you. I've got to read that on the stream elements. What do I think the Gene Stealer cult need the most? Well, the Gene Stealer cult, we don't need more psychers. We definitely don't need that. We have heavy infantry, we have light infantry. I mean, cavalry could be fun. But we have bikes, we definitely have bikes. We have loads of things that deep strike. I'm generally pretty happy with the Gene Stealer cult. We have enough ways to play. As a new unit, I thought, oh, maybe we could do with a monster, like a bigger aberrant. But we have that. That is the Abominant. It's the character version. It's just a bigger one. Yeah, more characters will come. I mean, just give us some mainline Brood Brothers units. Actual just, here's some Brood Brothers. That would be great. Do it like the 8th edition Codex. Was anyone around for 8th edition Gene Stealer Cult? It was a pretty fun one. Because it was like, yeah, the Lehman Russ, the Scout Sentinels, and a regular Brood Brothers squad were all there in the Codex. It was super useful. Good times. Be fun to see more vehicles for Gene Stealer Cult? Yeah, maybe. We have our mining tank, we have our regular truck. Just give us a limo. That's all I ask. Just the limo. Yeah. Sisters of Battle, I mean, a Cannoness with a jump pack is what we're supposedly going to get. That's what the images that Games Workshop was put out are suggesting. I would be happy with that. I don't think there's anything else that's like, oh, we desperately need this. Oh, wait, yes! Yes, there is. You know what I want to see. I want to see Celestians with guns coming back. That's all. That's the main thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chaos Knights can go crazy with the big cannons. It's a lot of big guns. You don't even need to do combat. Yeah. A drill on wheels. Well, they already have that. That is the Goliath rock grinder. Otherwise, there's the mining transport that the AdMech had, which was a Forge World. I think it's now a Legends unit. Wait and tunnel in, but all of our units tunnel in anyway, so it's not that amazing. Genestealer unit that's a group of Ogrins with a Tyranid as a leader. Well, we already have Aberrants, which is not quite Ogren size, but about that. So there's nothing that's like, oh, we're desperately lacking in a range the way that like World Eaters could do with Bikers and Terminators of their own. Or the way that the Leagues of Votann have about 6 units and that's it. Oh yeah, that's it. The Sisters need a drop pod. Dominica pattern drop pods. And we could also do with some snipers, holy snipers, which would be nice. You'd rather have a Palatine over the Canoness with a jump pack? I mean, they're roughly the same thing. They are a leader. I think it'll work with them having a Canoness with a jump pack. That's how it was in 2nd edition as a viable thing. Orcs need a new war boss on a bike? The old ones in Legends? Do they not still have the, what's he called? The dude with the power claw, and he's riding on a bike and the guy in front has a shotgun. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure that still exists. Did it go to Legends like at the Codex? Death Killer Wartrike, is that the name of it? That should still be around. I don't think that's a Legends unit yet. Or at all. This is pretty recent that they came out with it. 2 editions ago? 2 editions ago, maybe? Drop Church. Super heavy Drop Church for the Battle Sisters. Fill it full of people, then they all walk out. It looks great. It looks great. What do I want to see in the new Combat Patrol? I've done one for the Genestealer cult. I do still need to do a video on what I expect to see for the Sisters and what I want to see for the Sisters, because those are, of course, 2 different things. What I expect to get and what we might get. Yeah. The Genestealer cult are missing the fortification model. They are, but Games Workshop are not liking fortifications. They're not liking flyers, fortifications, or bringing out new super heavies. They've gone with the really big, like, non-emissary, but it's not super powerful. It's about 300 points, and it can be taken down by, like, 250 point units, 200 point units, yeah. Drill, land fortress, yeah. Yeah, we need some trains for the Votann. They need some trains. Get their land trains back in there. That's what we want. The base is massive and it's not as good a melee thing compared to the war boss. Oh, okay. I see. I see. Yes. What about Fraternus Militia? Ooh, what an interesting thing to talk about. Well, I could see that the Fraternus Militia would probably have the similar stat line to the Novitiates. That sort of thing. Combat weapons only, or combat weapon and pistol, or an auto gun with some flamers. That is a Fraternus Militia unit. So if we got a unit like that, it would probably be exactly the same, basically exactly the same as the Novitiates. And I don't know which unit would win out. It's nice to have the Novitiates. Fraternus Militia would only vary on like the units that could join it, but we can only have a preacher and I think a missionary can join the Sisters Novitiates. My eyes are very red today. It's fine. I'm awake. I have enough different sleep patterns. 2 sleeps is good if you have naps. Just, you gotta wake up and do some things and then go back to sleep. It's fine. It's a way of living and it works very nicely. It's all good. We're fine. Okay, I should probably get the tier list up. Hello, Lisa. Nice to have you. Sister's got a Paragon Canoness and Jump Canoness. I don't know if there'll be a Paragon Canoness because at this point, Morwen Val is just the... Yeah, we have Morwen Val for that. And it's only on 1 unit, so you can't have amazing loads of different Paragon warsuits. I mean, it does feel weird to have more than 1 Canoness in an army anyway. But thankfully, the Canoness is not amazing this edition, so people are rarely taking more than 1 regardless. Thanks for repping the Deathwatch. Not a problem. It's been fun to play them.
Tip 30 a donation for the high clamorous of the forearm.
No, Anthony! I don't want a high Clamavus. That would be a very interesting detachment to have, like, oh yeah, it's the Gene Stealer cult, but it's all music. And we just steal the whole Emperor's Children thing, led by the High Clamavus. Thank you for the money, Anthony. But I don't want to see any more Clamavi. Yes, I'm a vampire, Mr. Smith. Yes, yes. Ideally, new Votan unit with a Gene Stealer kill team will have infiltrate. Yeah, they should do. That would be ideal. I mean, that would make sense for them. Otherwise, they're yet another foot-slogging Hearthguard unit. Yeah. They should have a jump pack unit at some point. They just need 3 more units, and then they're a bit more viable. Yeah. I'm the High Clamavus. I am the propaganda guy. I dislike the title. But thank you, Anthony. Oh, there are other people who like the Gene Stealer cult, but they're less so active on YouTube, which is understandable. Yeah, oh, Sisters Landraid is just a church. I would be okay with that. We already have a weird, not Lehman Russ, not Predator tank. I just don't like the style of the Castigator. Rules-wise, the Castigator is perfectly fine. Absolutely viable. You can enjoy it in your games, but I'm less happy with the look of it. Corporate Votan. Or just more robots. Well, at that point, you're just stealing the Admex thing. Knobs Beast Snaggers? Because the Beast Snagger Knob, the one on the Smasher Squig, I believe he is now a unit champion rather than taken separately. Because that was a weird thing in like 9th edition, where he was by himself. Let's have a look. I have access to that. Yeah, Knob on Smasher Squig is just one of the Squig Hog boys. It comes with one knob on Smasher Squig and 3 Squig Hog boys, or 2 knobs on Smasher Squigs and 6 Squig Hog boys. I think they are sold together as a set, so it makes sense. They're kind of painful. You like the Clamavus? Sisters getting the Marines hand-me-downs? Yeah, we could indeed take them. At that point, we'd just become very much like the Chaos Space Marines, which is odd because the Chaos Space Marines are still using the older stuff from 30k and are very much a firstborn-focused army. People like the Clamavus. Be important and disorientating, especially when they're planned all this and set up speakers. Yeah, you like the propaganda angle? I mean, you could imagine it as like the Shawshank Redemption, where suddenly the speakers come out and everyone stops and starts listening to them. It's like beautiful music. That's not a bad idea. It doesn't all have to be propaganda and evil. It could be just, there's very nice music to distract people. Castigator is terrorizing the Crusade. Oh, well, yes. When you upgrade it in Crusade, tanks are very powerful when upgraded on their weapons. I upgraded the Exorcist in Crusade to get like more shots, additional armor penetration, and being able to fire even when things are in combat with it without the -1 penalty. Yeah, it's a menace. It's very good. You can take... Oh, yeah, we can take 3 Lehman Russes now that the points have gone down. It depends on the kind of Lehman Russ. You won't get 3 Demolishers, but you can take 3 Lehman Russes in your smaller games. Yeah. I do also wish the Patriarch was more integral. I like the Patriarch. I have the model. I'll keep going with it. Beast Snaggers need some kind of Knobs infantry? Maybe. I mean, they are very much feeling the... This is like the older... It was more of a fan thing, and it was occasionally in White Dwarf. Because they did have full rules in White Dwarf at one point. The Feral Orcs. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Let's go with... Tier list. Can I interact with this? I would love to be able to interact with this. There we go. Okay. Okay, there's the tier list. We have a tier list. This is an original concept. No one has ever done tier lists before. Monster-sized aberrant. Ooh. I mean, I think we have the abominant, which is fine for us. We don't need to go even crazier and get even bigger. Because there comes a point where that's not a stealthy infiltrate unit. That is just a monster. And we're dragging that out for combat. At that point, yeah, we are just having the Tyrannid units. Knight-sized aberrant. No. Oh, yeah, the Feral Orcs are disappearing from Age of Sigmar. They're really fun looking. So they can still be used in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, but I know not everyone plays that. I played it. It was a lot of fun. my Skaven got murdered. Great, and many enjoyment was had. Oh yeah, you could use the Usheron model, the Ghoul King from Age of Sigmar. That would be a very nice big aberrant. Yeah, I don't know about the Patriarch. He probably needs to be better, but then if we bring in like army debuffs or something that happens when he dies, then we have the weird situation of past edition Ethereals for the Tau, where if they died, then there was a penalty for the Tau. Then in some editions, there was a bonus because they all got like hatred and angry. So some people were climbing their Ethereal to the top of a building, then jumping off the building and taking fall damage and dying deliberately. It was it was a tactic. It was definitely stupid. Oh, right. This is Warhammer Old World, not Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Brackets, the old world. Yeah. Some of us in a full DJ unit. Oh, that could work. That could work. Okay, let's start with talking about the orcs. So the orcs are the new thing. Dread Mob is very fun. Lots of Gretchen focus. We also have like Killicans, which are Gretchen in them, and the Dreadnoughts, the Orc Dreadnoughts. So that's why I had on the thumbnail, it's the old Orc Dreadnought. People like the old Orc Dreadnought. It's a good thing. Good Dreadnought. Even though it's made of card, it is technically viable in 40k tournaments. And it's pretty good with line of sight because you just turn it slightly sideways and it's all good. Can't see me now. You can actually hide that model behind a lamppost and it'll work. Yeah. The Death Dread. Yes. Okay, so the rules with that, you get hazardous, but you can get a bonus. Is it a random bonus or is it a fixed bonus? Let's have a look. Dread Mob. So if you have a mech, which is, any unit that includes a mech boy, so you can put them in, I think, regular Orc boys, so then they get the bonus. Orc Walkers or Grot's Vehicle. So that does include the now in Legends Grot tanks. Pretty powerful tanks, because they are really small, really tough. Great fun. So each time your unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can roll a d6, and you get a bonus, which is either sustained hits, lethal hits, or on a critical wound, bonus armor penetration. Alternatively, you can deliberately select the one you want, which is what you want to do, because that's how like the Chaos Space Marines were so powerful at the start of the edition. But then you get hazardous. And if you already had a hazardous on the weapon, then it's hazardous on a 1 or a 2. Gretchen also get battle line, so you can have the Dread Mob and then get an absurd number of Gretchen, plus a lot of really fun things. Yeah, it's random, you can choose which one you want. Yeah, okay. Always go for the one you want with hazardous. That is more fun. And you have a lot of wounds on these tanks and vehicles, so that can work, because they have the wounds to absorb it. And it's only one roll, so you should be fine. That can be really good, especially if you want a Gretchen army. Yeah. Then we have the Green Tide. That is also really strong. You get a 5+ invulnerable save, and if it's over a certain size, you get to reroll 1s for your save. So you're almost at a 4+ invulnerable save for your basic infantry. The big obstacle to preventing that is it takes a lot of time to buy and paint 120 Orc boys. Yeah. Enjoyable though. Definitely enjoyable. I have been playing against, it was in the Apocalypse, it was like 6th edition. 100 Orc boys could be in a single unit. Yeah, as long as there's over 10 models, you get to reroll that armor save of 1. People really know their Orc Codex. That's cool. That's good. So that's one of the powerful detachments. They're all really good, though. They're all really good. The Speed Freaks ones isn't as good, but it's still great if you have the vehicles for it. And a lot of people, if they bought the Orc game that came out a few years ago, where you got all of the different vehicles, like 1 of every kind or 2 of every kind, then you can definitely make a viable Speed Freaks army. Yeah, the floor is Orcs. Yeah. Heavy into Beast Snagger boys. I see. The Beast Snagger detachment, the Squig Hog boys are very annoyingly tough. And they get like almost an Oath of Moment that Space Marines have against bigger enemies, so like monsters or vehicles or the enemy warlord, and you get a bonus to reroll charges and you get more armor penetration. That is really good. But if you're against an entirely like infantry army, that's when it's not going to work as well, but that infantry army is probably not going to be able to counter your high toughness. Squig Hog boys are less good because they no longer get something. Hastur's leaving me hanging. What do they no longer get? Something. But the bully boys, they no longer get a +1 to hit. I think they're still really good. Yeah. Oh, the rig isn't as good. The psychic. Oh, there's a psychic one. They vary on how great they are. The Squig Hog boys are good. The regular guys are good. The war boss version of them is also really powerful and surprisingly cheap. I think he's cheaper than the Patriarch, but is better than the Patriarch, which is understandable when you see the Patriarch. Like, oh, he has a psychic power. It's like, yeah, it's not that amazing. That's not going to do too much. The Bully Boys, yeah, they get War twice, but the second time is only for the Knobs and the Mega Knobs and anyone with a War Boss. So you want to put as many War Bosses in your army as possible. You're getting a full second War. That is where they're really, really good. There's also an enhancement to Deep Strike a unit of Mega Knobs, so you don't need to include the vehicles, but you're probably going to want some trucks and battle wagons to get your guys up there. Or you could not and just run up the field. You get double War. It can work. Oh yeah, the Lance is a special rule. That's good on the Squig Hog boys because it will work against even heavy infantry. We're seeing a lot of heavy infantry because with Space Marines being a sort of default profile, they are heavy infantry, they have a lot of heavy infantry units, and then Custodes and then Grey Knights, all very heavy infantry. Or war bosses. I assume different kinds of war bosses because you're limited to 3 of the same kind, but yeah, that's how it'll work. And then Gazgul can be good again because he went down in power quite a bit compared to 9th edition. Now his toughness is like the same as a Mega Knobs, which is understandable because he's in Mega Knob unit, so yeah, it kind of works. There's a lot of really good detachments there. Normally, the Orcs, like the World Eaters, they don't like being tied up early and pinned in their deployment zone. They can get tired after the wars happened, but if there are 2 wars, like turn 2 and then turn 3, yeah, the pain keeps coming until the enemy is dead. The Beast Boss, War Boss in Mega Armor. Yo, yeah, there's so many different kinds of War Boss. War with additional War, you know it. How would I counter the Green Tide Orcs as Gene Stealer cult? Well, I would go with my current tactic, which is to pin the enemy in the deployment zone. Orcs generally don't like that. So Gene Stealers hold them up. We have invulnerable saves, they have invulnerable saves. We have a lot of attacks with Gene Stealer Cult Claws, which is very helpful. Aberrants can also do the same thing. We are hopefully going to survive a lot of Orc attacks fighting back, but if we can keep the enemy pinned in their deployment zone, then we can control the board turn 1, then turn 2, pick a flank, and work your way across it. That's where your Acolytes come in, because Acolytes with demo charges, they can blow up vehicles, they can also blow up a lot of Horde infantry, because these are blast weapons, so you get more attacks. The invulnerable save is going to be quite annoying, so if you can hit them with regular neophytes first, AP 0, that's fine. We don't need to have the Ridge Runner or special stratagems to enhance that too much. It's just weight of bullets. Keep them held back, then weight of bullets on one flank, and then you can move your forces over to the other flank. We are also a Horde. You're going to be less Hordey than the Orcs, but they're not going to have anything to counter like vehicles and things. Oh yeah, Weird Boys with a jump. That works best in the now generic, what's it called, War Mob detachment? War Horde. Yes, because they have a stratagem. Let's check they still have the stratagem. Yeah, add 2 to advance and charge rolls in that detachment. So if you've got the Weird Boy that's doing the jump to teleport to be 9 inches away with that stratagem, they're now on a 7-inch charge. Yeah, so you can be instantly charged on that. Gene Stealer Cult, we'll do them next. I'm just going to put the orcs right up here at top tier. Very good all-rounders. All of the different things. Shooting orcs are good. Combat orcs are good. We'll have to see what they do with the points in... It's going to be June or July when they do the next points update, because we had it at the end of April. So we'll see. Yeah, definitely orcs are the top tier at the moment. So many different lists are viable. So many different units are viable. They're so very, very good. Even their basic detachment, it's great. You think it works in Green Tide too? Teleport 20 boys? Yeah, if there's space on the battlefield, that can work. Oh yes, and because it is a different, it's an ability rather than coming in from reserves, I suppose you can do it on turn 1. So that's the equivalent of just infiltrating. It'll depend on who gets the first turn. It doesn't work as well against Genestealer Cult or armies that have a lot of infiltrators. But it's definitely scary in Green Tide as well. I look forward to playing against it. I've got to finish my campaign against the Necron players while they're still going, and then we'll see if they start switching out. I should be doing orcs next. I might also get some games in against Tau, just to see what the Tau are looking like with their new codex. Yeah, it's a codex that hasn't sort of massively reduced the power of the faction. Whereas Custodes it had, Admech, they weren't great anyway, but then they got worse. Necrons went up. The Necrons definitely went up. Space Marines went down a bit. Tyranids went down a bit, but had more ways to play. Yeah. The Nids definitely, I wouldn't say they got better. Thank you. In that. Right, we'll do the Genestealer Cult next. We definitely have enough people, and I've been going for, 45 minutes already. How the time flies. I'm sure I haven't paused for breath yet. I should do that at some point. Never mind. Genestealer Cult. We have... Right, so... We still have the same problems as previously, where we got the double nerf, because Genestealer Cult were top tier at the start of the edition, because of how many units we were getting back and how we could control the board with all of the Deep Strike and Infiltrate. We had points increases to the Acolytes and the Neophytes. Then we had also the change to the Army Special rule so that we weren't always getting everything back. I was okay with that change. It was totally fine, absolutely understandable change. It maybe wanted one or the other. I don't think the Acolytes and Neophytes going up in points was a great thing. Does the Dread Mob will work on the mech guns? I think it does. It's a Grot's vehicle. Big mech guns. Where are you? Here we are. Mech guns. It's Grots and its vehicle, so yes, it does indeed work on them. Yeah. Oh yes, and the stratagem cost reduction change, that hurt Genestealer Cult because we were taking a lot of the Nexus and then doing things like Return to the Shadows and being able to get all over the board. That was really, really powerful for us. Now it's less so. Definitely less so. So we got hit in all of the wrong places. What we've had since then is a points boost to Genestealers, making them a lot more viable. And so the tactics I've been trying out of pinning the enemy in the deployment zone, that works. And then the new tactic we're seeing as a thing to give it a go is a lot more vehicles, because we've got the trucks, we've got the rock grinder, we've got the Ridge Runner, all having points reductions. Yeah, so that's a new way to play Genestealer Cult. It just makes a different way of already playing them more viable. The problem being Cult Ambush doesn't work on the vehicles. So if you're playing them then, it's like you're not playing with the army rule. But at this point, considering we're not getting a lot of respawning units back, and when they are coming back, they're not doing a lot, you may as well go for a unit that doesn't have Cult Ambush anyway. So, Dread Mob rule does work? Yeah, it does work with mech guns, yes. We're not getting... Yeah, we may as well just ignore the faction special rule, which is a weird thing to consider. Like, oh, our army rule is probably not going to work. The issue then is the detachment we have wants us to come from reserve. So it's going to be a more viable tactic when we get our codex in a few months. Then we'll see more of the mechanized style. But until then, it is a viable way to play. What we've got at the moment... Ooh. Welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Oh, it does the weird asterisk thing because it thinks it's a silly word. Oh dear. Yes, we do still have the blip tokens. It's not a deployment thing. It is when a unit is destroyed, you roll a dice. On a 4+, on a 5+, and you get +1 if it's a battle line, +1 if it's the first 2 battle rounds, you get the unit back as a blip. It's just not something that happens very often because it's now random, and also the enemy can pick them up. And if you do get your unit back, if you're killed on turn 2, you miss your turn 3, then you come back, you're redeployed on the enemy's turn 3 or turn 4, depending on what it is. And then, great, we've got a turn, maybe 2 to do something, so you might be able to do something in like the final turn of the game. If the game's still going. At that point, you're already winning, and you get another unit back, or you've already lost, and the new unit does nothing. So it's not the best. In 9th edition, yeah, a lot of hand flamers can be nice. The hand flamers doing the mechanized style where we jump out of a truck with the rerolls to wound, auto hitting, it makes metamorphs kind of viable. I have the new... Yeah, the vehicle list is a tactic for people to try. If you haven't seen it yet, there is a big section in my long How to Play Genestealer Cult that covers it. So it's there. It's like 2 videos back. It came out last Sunday. Yeah, so like 9 days ago. That one. It's got a lot of stuff about how to use the truck and the metamorphs in there. It works. It does work. It's just not necessarily the best with the stuff we have. So at the moment, we're also seeing other units, other factions are doing what we do, but they also have another benefit. So the Genestealer Cult, we pop up from reserve. We do a lot of shooting. We can do teleport stuff. We know that the Orcs can do teleport stuff if you have a lot of the Weird Boys. We know that the Necrons can use the Hypercrypt Legion to teleport. We know that Grey Knights have their detachment that lets them teleport. We know that the Custodes, they have Terminators that let them teleport. And the Demons, they can teleport but with really, really big monsters. There's a lot that we can do, but the enemies can also do the same thing as us, plus they get other bonuses. The Demons special rule where they control certain parts of the board, and that makes them better at where they can teleport. That would be nice for the Genestealer Cult, to be honest. When that first came out as like a teaser announcement thing about a year ago, because that's, you know, we're nearly 1 year into the into 10th edition, so that means we're a third of the way through the edition. You can think about that, because it comes out every 3 years. That's how they do it. That's the way of running things. Then I was like, okay, that should be good for Genestealer Cult, or maybe we'll be an outflank faction. Turns out we were just still a deep strike faction. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mechanized Genestealer Cult absolutely should be in the Codex. It has been one of the ways to play them. It's Horde, it's come up from reserve, it's the mechanized stuff, maybe with the bikes, and then there's the Aberrants and Mutants. So we'll probably get 4 detachments. I'm hoping for 5 or 6, but I think 4 will be what we get. You're taking Genestealer Cult to a tournament? Oh yeah, being able to infiltrate your entire army? That's good. That is very similar to how I run it. So if you want to rewatch my video on the new meta for Genestealer Cult, I think it's one of the top performing videos I have. So it's up there. It's definitely up there. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good tactic. You have the board immediately and you can push the enemy back into their deployment zone. We die a lot, yes, but that's fine because we in theory come back. You played only 1 game with Genestealer, so all I could say was coming back makes my friends frustrated, so they're good. No, I didn't like that. I didn't like that I was upsetting my opponent by the way I got units back. Even if, when you think about it more, it's not that great. Yeah. When we have the new Codex, I think I'll do a video on how to beat Genestealer Cult. We'll see what it looks like there. I do hope we get a rework to the army rule. And ideally the detachment. Really, I think the detachment rule and the army rule should be the other way around. That would work fine. Then we have everything's got deep strike. We get bonuses when we come up from reserve. And also, then you can have a Horde faction which gets more units back. Yes. Another benefit that Genestealer Cult have is with the tactics and the good units, we can use the guard units. But we haven't really recovered from the penalty to the Acolytes and Neophytes when the points were coupled to the army changes the special rule. They're still fun. I'm happy being an underdog, but they're one of the weak factions at the moment. We should get better. That'd be nice. You'd like to look at Imperial Guard next? We can look at Imperial Guard next. That's a good transition. Right, so Imperial Guard. You can now do a decent mechanized one. Random guy, you cannot currently use Tyranid units in a Genestealer Cult army. They changed how allies work. So at the moment, it's only if your army has a special rule to say you can have allies. So Genestealer Cult have a special rule to say you can use Brood Brothers. The Imperial Agents, they have a special rule on themselves for how they work. The Knights have a special rule on how they work as Free Blades. So with all of that included, it's not currently possible to have them, unless you just want to have a fun game. That works. Yeah. Yeah, then you can do them. If you fight Genestealer Cult, don't wipe out the whole unit. Use 1 to 2 and then focus on other things. I wouldn't agree. I would say kill them all. Because if you kill them all, they come back as a blip. If you don't kill them all, then you're going to get D3 or D6 models back with the cult banners. That's going to be what it is. So I would say wipe out whole families rather than leaving a couple alive. Yes, I like to have fun games. Maybe in the Codex, the detachment lets you pull in NIDs. Alex, I don't think it'll happen. It's a nice idea, but I think it's going to be left very much the realms of this is a fun thing. It may be a Crusade thing. We could get it in Crusade as like a Crusade rule. As yes, now that Ascension Day has come, we take over the planet. Maybe there's a further one to bring in Tyranid units, either as allies or enemies. But I don't think it's going to be something we get as a detachment. Nice idea, but otherwise it's just in casual fun games. Like, yes, I have these units, I am playing with them. Yeah, they had been able to take them in the past because that was where keywords and things, but that was a little bit silly with the allies system. It was okay generally in like 6th and 7th edition, but Tau with Eldar, bit strong as 2 allied pairings, but Eldar and Dark Eldar, that was great fun. Imperial Guard with Space Marines, it works. Having 1 squad of Battle Sisters and just sticking them in an Imperial faction, it's a lot of good fun. Then we got 8th edition, it was like, okay, my Imperial army is 32 Imperial Guardsmen, 1 Space Marine Captain with a Thunderhammer, and an Imperial Knight. And that was it. And I don't know what kind of army they would be. More Space Marine units maybe, because they had some of the best. Yeah. Okay, where were we? We were on Guard. The Guard. So, you can do more of a mechanized Guard army now. Having Katachan Scout to move up the board, that is working quite nicely. The change to the rule in January for orders is that if you have a character, they can get out of the vehicle and then issue an order. So that works even if it's not a Chimera, so people are taking more of the Taurochs than they are taking the Chimeras. I still think the Guard orders are very badly written. Just as the rule, because they stop working if your unit gets battle shocked. But a unit that is battle shocked, like the officer that's battle shocked, can still issue an order. And you can issue that order to a battle shocked unit, including your own battle shocked unit. That doesn't quite track. But yeah, it's kind of been off-putting, along with the detachment rule. Anyway, we've seen that scouting works, with Katachans doing a mechanized force works. The Gaunt Ghost unit is meant to be pretty good. I haven't thought much about it because you can't take it as Brood Brothers because it's a named character. But for what it is, yeah, it's meant to be pretty good. And we've seen with Genestealer Cult that there are various styles of guard that can work. So we've got the mechanized, we've got the super heavies. Being able to back up your speedy stuff that's all scouting with some super heavies, that's really strong. Super heavies did not go up in points. Wish Genestealer Cult could have their guys in guard vehicles. Yeah, it's probably making the rules a bit more complicated. If you're changing faction and unit keywords, it makes it so that it works fine as a bonus, like an add-on to the Genestealer Cult. Otherwise, we'll see just full Imperial Guard armies with like as many Genestealer Cult units as a minimum. But that is a way to do it. That is the Hive Cult. That's how you can work Genestealer Cult. We're seeing with Imperial Guard, the Lord Solar is very much there. Because we've got more tanks are viable, because the Leman Russes just got cheaper to go with it. The Lord Solar can order tanks, And the tanks with the tank commander can be good, but just generally Leman Russ tanks are good. Yeah, the problem is it's one detachment that's available to them at the moment. If anything needs a new detachment, just a one-off detachment like the Dark Eldar got with their Sky Splinter Assault Force, it would be Imperial Guard to play something other than artillery. Because even though it's it's a mixed regiment, it's focused on the artillery. So with the price of the artillery things going up, as you're saying, drop the Basilisks, drop the Manticores, but keep doing Imperial Guard mortar squads, so heavy weapon teams and regular squads with mortars. And you can also have the Earthshaker Carriage from Forge World. I think it's called the Earthshaker Carriage Battery, something like that, because that didn't go up in price, and it is exactly the same gun as the Basilisk, with exactly the same really annoying -2 movement, -2 to charge special rule. There's just a mismatch between the Forge World points and the regular points. We're also going to see that eventually, if the points keep going up on artillery units and things that are indirect firing, then the legend units will start becoming better, because the points of the legend units will be cheaper than the regular ones, which I think they already are. So yeah, if you want the Earthshaker platform, that's a legend unit. It's also very viable. They're removing Forge World things that aren't Titanic. Well, at that point, you could just say, yeah, it's a Basilisk. It's a regular Basilisk. We're seeing a cut down of the Forge World units, kind of. And things are going to Legends because they're still viable to use. They're just going to not be making the models anymore. And then we do get the annoying thing of the points are not changing to be improved. I know that Legend units... I like Legend units. I'm happy that Legend rules still stick around. It's not something they did in the past. It was just, oh yeah, this unit isn't in the Codex anymore, therefore it's gone. Although with the older editions, if you had a 5th edition army and you were playing in 5th edition, units from the 3rd edition Codex would still be viable because of how similar the rules were. I like that. But having Legends rules, it's okay. I'm happy with it. Grot tanks, yeah, they're very popular. They're fun. It's just that at this point, there's not that much difference between the rules of a Grot tank compared to a killer can. So people are just using their Grot tanks as killer cans, which is pretty viable. Just stick a buzzsaw on the front. And yeah, having some rules is better than no rules. As I keep saying, for the Celestians with the guns, they didn't even get legend rules. Yeah. So as long as you're buying the core of the army, the basic stuff that you see, nothing super heavy, nothing that's a flyer, nothing that's a fortification, you should be perfectly fine in your buying choices. But the Imperial Guard detachment, it likes artillery. That's a big problem, especially when they keep taking hits to the points of the artillery. So I'm putting them, if I can find the little logo. Oh, where's an Imperial Guard man? There he is. There he is. He's weak. They're looking pretty weak. You can do good things at tournaments. You can win tournaments. But you've got to go with janky artillery and super heavies and not really play the infantry stuff. You can play the infantry stuff. It's just not quite as viable at the moment. When they get their codex, and we don't know when that'll be, then we should be seeing a more... I'm hoping for an elite infantry one. Something a bit more to suit the Cadians, the Mordians, the Praetorians, those kind of elite infantry. And then we separately have the Vostrians, which are the mass assault ones. And I suppose the Cadian conscripts would also go there. And then you've also got your tank detachment and your artillery detachment. And they can be nicely separated out. I think they'll do like what they did with the Tau, where they take the main detachment that they currently have and split up the stratagems into separate ones. That's what I can see happening. Do we have any preference on which one we do next? Yeah, it'd be nice to see the fixed combat patrol for the sisters. I know that's on the list of things I have to do. It's a video. I have so many videos to do. But yeah. Yeah. Nids. Okay, yeah, we can do Tyranids. Tyranids. Hello, Ragnar. Hello. Okay. Once again, we got a points increase to the Gargoyles. They've been a staple in tournaments for all the different kind of detachments. Yes, Steel Legion, very much for the mechanized detachment of Guard. Yes, yes, yes. Very fun. And Krieg could maybe go in there as well, or Krieg, maybe just the infantry horde. Yeah, like with the Vostrians. Yes, yes. Right, Tyranids. So, Gargoyles were a staple in tournaments for all the different kind of detachments because they're really good, because they have, like the Seraphim, move, shoot, and then move again. And because they had assault weapons with their flesh borers, they could advance and then shoot and then move again. They can get straight across the board to whatever place they need to be. So the good stuff got more expensive again. The Lictor is cheaper, so casual players will be a bit happy with that. If you're taking the Vanguard Onslaught detachment, which is focused on the Gene Stealers, the Lictor, the Neuro Lictor, that's a little bit better, but a lot of people are just taking the Neuro Lictor because that is a really good unit. Their detachments have been a bit overshadowed since other codexes have come out. And their main one that people are taking is the Invasion Fleet. Just the generic one, which works pretty well. Lictor, I barely knew her. Oh, Lisa. Oh, no. I swear that at some point people are going to start coming in from like Tonkatsu Sinclair and Dashi Lee's thing, because that is a joke they make every single time. Okay, yes, I'm also still waiting for the Shrikes to come back. They were a Forge World unit. If people don't know, a Tyranid Shrike was a Tyranid warrior with wings and either guns or a claw. Because if you think of the 6 limbs of the Tyranids, 2 of them are legs, 2 of them are wings, that left a gun. So I'm thinking they will also come back. Now, when the Hachette Combat Patrol magazine comes out, and I don't know if it's going to be summer, I don't know if it's going to be later in the year, like September, rumors are like maybe sometime in 2024, at least for the UK, and then a bit later it'll get rolled out in other countries. Their very first magazine is like £3, that's $5, $8, depending on your dollar currency. You get a Terminator Captain, the one from the Leviathan set. You get a Captain Flappy Bat, so that's the Shrike Alpha, or the Winged Prime, however you want to think of it. It's a Tyranid warrior with wings. So, and you also get like a battle mat and some dice and, you know, a little magazine. So 3 of them, very cheap to get. There's your 3 Shrikes. And if you are waiting on Shrikes to come back, then you could just use them as just regular warriors. Yeah, because it seems odd at the moment that we have a Shrike Prime who can fly, who can go with Tyranid warriors who are on foot and slow, or we can go with Gargoyles who don't really need to have him because they're just fast and more expensive. Yeah, I hope we get Shrikes. Welcome to the channel, Shane B. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, it does seem odd. It does seem odd. Alternatively, what you can do with the Shrike Prime is have them separately. That is how you run them in the Leviathan box set, and they can fly around doing objectives and things. But at this point, I think even for the points we've got, let's have a look at the points. Tyranids, Codex Tyranids, Gargoyles at 85 points. And Winged Alpha is 65 points. So it's not a bad idea to have a few of them flying around for secondary objectives. They can deep strike. It can work. Although probably for secondary objectives, you're taking a Biovore just to throw spore mines out there and do it that way. It's one way of doing it, but the Biovore keeps going up in price because artillery. Yeah. Yeah. Likes using with Gargoyles. People are less likely to want to charge the Gargoyles. But if he's in the unit, he's no longer toughness 5 or 6. He's toughness 3 as long as there's still a Gargoyle alive. Makes him a lot weaker. It's a problem to consider. So running him alone is totally viable. You don't have to put him in a unit just because he can go in a unit. He doesn't gain on operative by going by himself, but it can be viable for using him for secondary objectives. Warrior HQ without wings? Yeah, the old Warrior Prime. Oh, I remember back in 3rd edition where if you didn't have a Hive Tyrant, your Tyranid Warriors, which were like an elite choice, went to a HQ choice. Then at some point they became troops choices because they're Tyranid Warriors, and it was just a way of having like, here's your troops if you want pure monsters. Then we'll see how it goes in the future for like 11th edition. They just got their big refresh, so much like with the Necrons last edition, where you get a bunch of stuff but not all of the stuff. Yes, you could also, yeah, proxy him as a parasite of Mortex. The parasite, what's it called? Parasite. The parasite of Mortrex. Many walkings, many walkings. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Need HQ was fun for smaller games. Absolutely. It would work in a combat patrol game, you know, if they wanted to do that way. But I think in the current combat patrol, because they got rid of the Hive Tyrant and the Swarm of Little Ones, they're now on, yeah, the Shrike is your leader. Shane, glad you catch live despite time difference. Ah, no problem. I do plan to do a sisters video, another, like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it meta, but definitely competitive how to play sisters video soon. It's meant to be, I'd announced it, which I maybe shouldn't have done in the Discord, that, oh yeah, it'll be coming out this week. I'm hoping to get it done this week. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. They touched the Barbie gaunts. They went down in price in April because they went up and then they went down again. They're now 55 points again. And I don't think there's any change to their detachment or unit rule. Other than from the start of the edition, you now only pick one thing that they hit to get slowed rather than everything that they hit. Yeah. You tend to get the Biovore as a fortification. Yeah. They do have also the flying thing, the Harpy. I've always thought of them as like, yeah, it's for Apocalypse. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the Tyranids, their detachments have got more and more overshadows as more things have come out. Games Workshop seems to like do a great Codex release and then rolls it back a bit later. I'm okay with them doing that. You get a bit of hype for your army, which we got for like the Necrons and the Orcs. Tower pretty good. We should maybe see Chaos Space Marines good. Should be. And then as things are getting play tested, then they go down, or well, they go up in points and get a little bit worse. I think once all of the detachments are out, this could be a really fun edition. Hopefully, then it doesn't all just get scrapped for 11th edition and they do crazy things. It would be nice just to have an edition to enjoy the good things. Just leave it alone for a while. They seem incapable of doing that. But if we just had 11th edition is 10th edition with all the codexes out, all the detachments, and then all they really do is points updates and things, rules refreshes, just a, yeah, this is your new edit things, here's a new codex with the update things. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, all the detachments will come out, 2 months? You think it'll be a whole 2 months? Maybe 1 month. And that'll be like, hey, here's your Emperor's Children Codex. Right, it's invalid. Well, it won't be, because 11th edition should be compatible with 10th edition. Give, like, Rocket's anti-vehicle for 11th edition? Perhaps. Tea on stream. Always drinking tea. Yep. I try and set it so that it mutes out background noise, but we've run out of the free trial of that for today. 11, yes, pre-order your 10th edition Emperor's Children and your 11th edition starter set. Oh, I have to have milk with it. It's English breakfast tea at the moment. Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't all get scrapped. Okay, Tyranids, right, we're putting them in low because though they have some viable ways to play, they're very much overshadowed by everyone else and haven't got the points to support it. Monsters are looking okay, but they don't work as well in Crusher Stampede. Crusher Stampede is fun. Just having all monsters is fun, but you can do all monsters plus the invasion fleet, the regular one, the one they had in the index. Then it works quite well. Because that feel no pain, if you're in sign-ups range, 5-up feel no pain on monsters, it's really scary. Doesn't work quite as well for the hordes. If you're doing the hordes, you definitely want the onslaught swarm. Okay, which detachment faction next? Oh, 11th edition All Drukarian Legends. Ooh. Don't think it will be. Yeah. Endless Swarm works great if your opponent has a good book. For your turn at hand. Okay. Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns is first. I can throw up some Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns. Okay. They're quite an elite one. I'll do Thousand Suns then Death Guard. I haven't got much to say on the Thousand Suns. If you're an experienced player, and I don't know if Paul is in the chat because I know he plays Thousand Suns, but if you're an experienced player, they're really strong. Then they have a lot of great powers. If you have Area Man, it's good. You've got things like indirect fire on units. I've been playing Chaos Space Marines recently where Obliterators, once per game, they can fire indirectly. just shoot through walls. So having Melter Blast through a wall, it's really strong. And having a special thing to turn off all of your saves, yeah, Iron Man is really powerful for that. I'm going to say they're a very strong faction. I haven't got much more to say on them other than, yeah, Zangors also exist. You can do a Zangor thing. Obliterators are fun. Alex, I know you play Chaos. But you're like a Emperor's Children, but mainly Chaos Space Marines army, if I remember correctly. They're very nicely done. Where are we? Thousand Suns. Looking for a picture that's kind of Egyptian. Thousand Suns. There we go. Yeah, they're strong. Let me just quickly look at their win rates. Or let me change that to just the last few months. Thousand Suns. Okay, they're about average. 53%, 47%. They've been up and down a little bit. They're about average, but in a tournament setting, rather than a casual setting, they go really well. They're definitely one of those, oh yeah, they can go hard. The Mutileth and the Vortex Beast, that was a weird thing that came out in like fantasy, like old fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It didn't quite work there. It was in 40k and they're like, who do we give this to? Like, oh yeah, we just released these Thousand Suns dudes, stick it with them. Or it wasn't for them initially, it wasn't for anyone, then they threw it with them. Yeah. Obliterators plus Zinj plus Flesh Change. Yeah, being able to bring back an Obliterator is pretty good. I'm just going to check now which Mark of Chaos I have given my Obliterators. Because I think what I did... Where are we at? Chaos Detachment. And Obliterators. There they are. I gave them a Mark of Zinj. Yeah, same thing. Mark of Zinj, that gives you lethal hits. And they already have a gun. Their like massive number of shots ones already give them sustained hits. So that's where you get sustained hits and lethal hits anyway. And I have them near my Hellbrutes. So extra powerful. Extra powerful. Very good choice. Yeah, then use the stratagem on them so they get 3 wounds back plus a model. And you have to use them in units of 2 because they're sold in units of 2 now. It's definitely, I wouldn't say overpowered, it's quite powerful. I keep failing the roll, the warpy god, what's the special rule called? When you pray to the gods, I keep failing that rule, so they keep getting hurt by things. Yeah, it sucks that I can't seem to pass a leadership test with them, but they're pretty good. Hope we get a 11th edition Chaos Space Marines against Space Marines, emphasis on Iron Warriors behind, with Imperial Fists. You know, that could be pretty nice. Could be pretty nice. I like that idea. Dark Pact, that's the thing. Dark Pact. Yeah, Vashtor's tech support role. Yep, the leadership test. The Dark Pact test. That's the one I mean. That's the one I mean. I keep taking wounds on that. Oh well. You know, and it's always like 3 wounds. And they have 5 wounds and they're really tough at toughness 7. Yeah. I mean, they're really good as like a... They're tough at like low point games as well. That's like almost a vehicle. They're almost a, you know, Hellbrute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's looking pretty nice. Looking pretty nice. Okay, well, we're still in the Chaos stuff. Because I don't have anything more to say about Thousand Suns. If anyone has any Thousand Suns comments, you can put it in the chat. But we'll look at the Death Guard that was requested. Okay. So... 6 Obliterators at 1,000 points. That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. And they have such versatile weapons. It's either anti-marine, anti-tank, anti-horde. Yeah, they're good. They're good. So, the Death Guard. In January, we had a change to the way the Chaos Demons worked. So, they work where if you take a battle line unit from the Chaos Demons, or you have to have at least as many battle line units of that god before you can take more things. So, you can't take Nurglings and a Blue Scribe. You would have to also have some horrors, then you could take the Blue Scribes. You think Death Guard a pretty solid medium? Could be, could be. I just use my 20 and 30-year-old Chaos Space Marine stuff. It works quite nicely. Focus on the core of the army, legionaries. I also went so hard into cultists. I love my cultists. So tempted to do a video on cultists of Chaos when the Chaos Space Marine army is released. Then I can at least focus on that one detachment, which we'll see what we get. Yeah, yeah. So, Death Guard. They were terrible at the start of the edition. Then they got better. They're not as tough as they used to be. They're much more, let's have lethal hits on everything, which feels very Necron. It's not great. Yeah, they have a lot of slightly tougher Marines. They're a bit cheaper than they were. Ton of melee weapons. They're not quite a horde, but you can run them as a horde with a lot of poxwalkers. The -1 to hit on top of the -1 toughness, making enemies -1 to hit, that's very strong. That's very strong. It's it works very well on like Genestealer Cult. It works really well on Death Guard. I mean, think about Genestealer Cult. You come up 3-4 inches away so you can throw your demolition charges, and now your demolition charges that would be hitting on a 5+ are hitting on a 6+. It hurts. It hurts. So after the Custodes lost their stance to be able to say, yes, enemies are at -1 to hit them in combat, the fact that Death Guard still get it is rather strong. They're still able to put out some great indirect fire with the Plague Bros crawlers and the Lord of Contagion, being able to like negate the negatives on that. They're not super amazing. They're very strong though. I think they're going to be a happy medium, like mid faction. I mean, what do you people think? You people, answer me, chat. 1 for Inconcern, 2 for weak, 3 for happy medium, 4 for strong, 5 if you really think they're top tier. Oh, I'm thinking the Lord of Virulence, not the Lord of Contagion. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah, you have to stay away from that. We're thinking 3. They're a happy medium. They're a good faction. They're not too strong. We're all going with 3. Ooh, 2. Maybe a little strong. According to what stats we've got for tournaments from them, Death Guard are 53%. Yeah, about 53%. They vary on like a just under 50%, just over 50%. I think they're going to be, as most people are saying, higher end of medium, but not the level of Thousand Suns. Okay. I'll put Death Guard there. Yeah, they're not quite Thousand Suns level, and even then, Thousand Suns, you need to be a good player. It's like Genestealer Cult could be very much in the Concern level, but if you're a good player, if you've got experience with them, if you watch my videos to get them up, then they're happily medium. I can beat most people with most different armies with Genestealer Cult. It's just when you get really weird stuff like, I can probably take on 120 boys, but not if they have an invulnerable save. That gets much harder. Yeah, they're not going to be Thousand Suns level. Okay, right. World Eaters should go next, I think. Oh, yeah, bad matchup for Orcs. -1 to hit and the toughness reduction. Yeah, so going down to toughness 4 for all the Orcs. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But they would do quite well against, say, Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights. Reduction to toughness, -1 to hit, or something along those lines. Bonuses to hit. Yeah, okay. There's different things that go well in not in Geist. Right. Yeah, Dread Mob hitting on a 6+. Orcs against Death Guard, not happy. They're not happy. Let's do the World Eaters next, since we're sticking on the Chaos extra factions. World Eaters, I had a couple of notes. World Eaters, yes. So they got a lot of points drops on a lot of their basic units, like Jackals, the Berserkers, Hellbrutes, they also went down. They've become a lot more viable, just for the regular stuff. Mauler Fiend is down. World Eaters Terminator Squad is down. Yeah, the Hellbrute is down, which just, it fights and shoots and does combat stuff rather than supporting other people. 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound seem to be the way to go for tournament lists, though. It's harder to do after the points change in January. If you go first against the World Eaters and pin them in the deployment zone, and they can't get to the objectives, then they're going to lose. Ragnar. Death Guard beating Orcs because green is the best colour. I have this theory that Orcs are like purple-blue colorblind, so they can't see purple, and that's why everything seems invisible to them. That's not quite how colorblindness works, but it's a way to go. World Eaters need some more mounted units. The lot on Juggernaut. Leading infantry is a bit weird. They should probably have Juggernauts, the way that the Chaos Demons have Juggernauts. Did they have Juggernauts in Warhammer Fantasy? There was just regular Juggernauts. I don't know if there was ever a Chaos Warriors riding Juggernauts. No, it was always Demons. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the World Eaters. So if you can like scout and screen for them and pin them in a deployment zone. So if you have lots of Dominions, you have lots of Catachans, you have lots of Gene Stealer cult stuff. Blood Crushers there in Sigma, yeah. Skull Crushers, different thing. Oh, that's right. Blood Crushers was such a weird name. I remember them existing. It was like, why would you crush blood? Shouldn't it be like grind them on the Crush Crushers? Yeah. Does anyone in Britain, it's maybe just a British thing, remember the adverts for Crusher, which is about these cats that took some cows and then crushed them, and that's how you got the drink? It was a very weird advert that was out for a while. Add milk or we'll crusher. It was freaky. It was freaky. Blood slurpers. I don't think the advert ever went beyond Britain, but it was one of those like famous adverts. Yeah. It's an odd thing to see. I don't know when that was around, like early 2000s, I think was when that was about. That was a weird time. Weird time for British TV. Right, Goonhammer has World Eaters at about 48%. World Eaters... 46, 52, 48%. It's about that level. They're looking relatively mid. They like getting out of their deployment zone, pinning the enemy in their deployment zone, and then going on and like holding the battlefield that way. Then Blood for the Blood God. And then bring back Angron. Yeah. So, if that's your faction, where do you think they are? 1 is concerned, 2 is weak, 3 is happy medium, 4 is strong, and 5 is absolutely top tier. Going off tournament stats, they're in a happy medium. But people may have played them like locally, in more casual games, after the points drop, where Berserkers may be doing a bit better, where more Jackals are doing better. Are we thinking about mid? Found the ad. Yeah, it's a very weird fun one. That's just how it was at TV. Everyone was... it goes in cycles. Yeah, happy medium, happy medium. It goes in cycles with all of the different... That does say World Eaters, doesn't it? Yeah, that says World Eaters. Yeah, with adverts, it's like, okay, for a long time you had pretty normal adverts, so you get weird ones that come out, and it's like, oh, it breaks the trend. Then everything was weird for a few years. We had, like, backflipping goats, and that was like, get car insurance. And then, I don't know, this man jumping off a mountain, and it's like, buy some cheese. Stuff like that. So if you then did an advert that was just straight... Here's a glazing company, we do double glazing, here's where you can find us, buy some double glazing. That was then the advert that got like more attention because it was different to the meta, essentially. The advert meta. Pepper Army adverts. I don't remember them, but they may have been weird. It depends how lucky you are at resurrecting the Angry Primarch. Yeah, I've had him come back once against me. And it is like here we go again. But by that point, same with the Gene Stealer cult, either as World Eater players you've already won the game, or you're getting Angron back, but he's not going to swing back the game for you. Yeah. Right, so Chaos stuff. Should we go for a more regular Chaos Space Marines? Can I also get some more likes on the stream? Thank you very much. Otherwise, you know, I'll go for whichever detachment army things you want. Can't kill Angron plus a Lord of Skulls. Ooh, yeah. Already liked it. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So we can do General Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Knights. We seem to be on a Chaos theme at the moment, and I'm happy to keep it going. Normal Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, we can do normal Chaos Space Marines. So, they have a lot of units. They're very versatile. Then, I mean, my way of playing it is more expensive in terms of points. A lot of cultists, and then the Chosen units, which is how I've been doing it since like 6th edition. Chosen, I found a unit of 10 is very powerful, but it's probably too much. A unit of 5 generally works. Yeah, it's hard to tell because their book is on pre-order at the moment. Is it on pre-order at the moment and then coming out next week, or on pre-order next week and coming out the week after that? Games Workshop website, was it This Week in Warhammer? Oh, they're apparently going to do a full reveal of stuff for Age of Sigmar. Okay. next week, Sunday preview, Chaos Space Marines, they're returning to the fray. 8 detachments. Lots of cultists. You can get a new Chaos Lord, I'm sure you can. You definitely really want that whole box set. You don't want the whole box set. 2 new kinds of Chaos Lord, a Raptor Lord and a Lord on foot. Oh, that's a fun thing. Bringing back the Cultist Firebrand. Was he stopped being viable in 9th edition? He was just a Legends rules from 8th edition, or he was just a guy with a flamer. Very odd. Right, pre-order is next week. Okay, and then it comes out the week after that. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, 8 detachments, so we're getting a codex with a proper amount of rules. I mean, Dark Angels, you can see this is a codex supplement, so they don't need a whole thing in themselves. It's like 3 bonus detachments on top of the existing 7 detachments for the Space Marines. Yeah. Yeah, it's different that we haven't had Chaos Codex leaks. So the new codex should be released, if it's pre-order this Saturday, then it should be released on the 18th of this month. That's what we're looking at then. Leaks went missing in the warp. Yeah, they'll come back eventually. Leaks are there. Well, we'll see what happens. Firebrand has a larger base than them. Oh, you change it to a smaller base. So it was expected that you just use it as it's a dude with a flamer. Now they're coming back as their own thing. Chaos Cultist Firebrand. He's got a Balefire Pike, which is D6 plus 3 strength 5 attacks. And he has a Fiery Faith special rule, which allows an attached unit of cultists to reroll leadership tests. I mean, that's not awful. I'm hoping he's really cheap, and you can stick him in there alongside like a cult commune. If you can't, then I might include him. But I have the model. I bought it as a, yeah, I'll get this guy because he also comes with a nice Chaos Cultist things for Blackstone Fortress. It was a standalone box. I was like, this is fine. I'm happy with this. Still hurts the mini nids. It'll still hurt quite a few things if it's a lot of shots at strength 5. It'll hurt even like Necron Immortals just by weight of fire, literal weight of fire. Yeah, I'm also waiting on an extended roadmap. That would be nice to see. Also getting, you know, months for when Genestealer Cult and Sisters of Battle are coming out. The more I know, the better. Cheap Flame is nice. Yeah, auto hitting. That sounds good. I like that very much. Yeah, I saw the flamer. The Sisters sensors were tingled. Saw that it was a cultist. Genestealer Cult sensors activated. That's the way it is. Yeah, so Genestealer, no, Chaos Space Marines. We have got, is it one a month and the other one next month? Okay, good. So I should have at least a few weeks between Sisters and Genestealer Cult to survive. Great. We got points drops for a lot of Chaos Space Marine things, so that allowed me to add a unit of bikes just for like no extra points. Indirect fire obliterators are really good. That's great. Deep striking thing. Yeah, deep striking a bunch of stuff. Being stealthy. Yeah. Necron's waiting on more info for what's next. Ooh, especially with starting Deathwatch this edition. Good choice, good choice. Flamer detachment for the Sisters. Not a bad idea, because the Ebon Chalice does have a focus on flamers. Yeah, having a Sisters versus Genestealer Cult box. Oh, I would be so very tempted. We may just get a Crusade book. Because we've had the Tyranids versus Space Marines Crusade book. We've had the Necrons versus Admech Crusade book. Haven't had a like Orcs versus Custodes Crusade book or anything like that. But a Sisters versus Genestealer Cult Crusade book, I would love that. I would pour through that and do videos on that. Yeah. Now there are people saying, oh, I really, really hope that for Chaos Space Marines, the Traitor Guard could be back as like their own thing. Because when they did the Imperial Armor books, then we had, yeah, this is a viable all-cultist army. That was not bad. It worked. I played them. It was a pure infantry horde, but not quite. Yeah, Blood Pact was from the Gaunt's Ghost stories. Yeah. That was good. They were, yeah, Lost in the Damned, or it was like, yeah, these are Traitor Guard. they existed in past editions as their own thing in Imperial armor. It was a horde unless you had tanks with it. At that point, it was just an Imperial Guard. There was no real difference to it. So it wasn't the best thing. What you have with Chaos Space Marines is you always have the option to have lethal hits or sustained hits with this detachment. It's really nice. And so you can take down knights, you can take out hordes, you have the tools there. They're getting a codex in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how it is, but they're a very versatile army. For people who seem to have played them or played against them, Chaos Space Marines being quite a common army, where are we thinking? Yeah, it has the mutants. It has the mutants. Had the mutants. They were like a whole mutant thing for themselves. And now we have mutants plus a curse, plus the torments. It's a cursed cultist as a unit. Very nice unit. Very viable. Very fast. Very tough. Okay at hitting power. We're thinking put them in strong. Boxes, then single models, then boxes. Well, we'll see. I mean, it would be nice. We just hope the Sisters combat patrol is better. 8 detachments means they should be good with a 1 or 2. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I don't think that the Traitor Guard will be their own thing. I don't think that's going to be the, oh, here's our reveal for a new codex or anything like that. I don't think they work without the Chaos Space Marines. I think they need that support. Very fluffy rules, maybe a strong minus. So we're thinking strong. Put them in strong. Or mid. I mean, at the points we've got, for the next few weeks at least, I'm thinking mid. Any advancement on mid, I can put them in strong if enough people type 2 in the chat. Or if you type 3, I'll put them in mid. However you want to do it. Low end of strong, top end of mid. Okay. I mean, are we thinking like their Death Guard level? Edge case. Ooh. To overall, I think chat seems to be going that. Okay. I'll put them there. I'll put them in strong. Because we're predicting that with the new codex, then they'll have enough tools to be able to be even more versatile, deal with a lot of different things, have a lot more playstyles. It can work very well. Right. I need a break just for like 2 minutes. Just to... I've been talking for a while. I've been talking non-stop for like an hour and a half now. So 2-minute break, and then we will be back. So very much a be right back. I will see you soon. Grab some water, grab some tea. There should be time for tea. I'll see you soon. And we're back. Audio good? Yep, we seem to be here. Chat's still here. That's great. I went with a nice Earl Grey today. I was feeling very much, this is a nice, calm, sophisticated thing. Very nice. We're making kill teams? Oh yeah, I mean, if it's a kill team, you can do whatever you like. You can have them each individually, so they look all cool like that. Or you could have a, you know, unified theme. Could be nice, could be nice. Demon time, we can do demons. I'm down for demons. So... demons. Chaos demons. The changes to the demons, which was back in January, to make it so that if you have a battle line unit, you need to have at least a regular... No, for every regular unit you have to have a battle line unit of the same god. That doesn't affect demons at all. So a Chaos Demon army that is a Chaos Demon army, you can do all monsters, and that's valid. You can do entirely a horde, and that's valid. So there's still quite a few ways to play them. The deep striking all around, it took a little bit of a hit when everyone was countering the Hypercrypt Legion and the Grey Knights. That's where demons suffered quite a bit. A lot of people were taking like the Clamavus to keep them out of deep strike range, intending it to be for the Necrons, ended up also hurting the Tyranids. Not the Tyranids, ended up also hitting the Chaos Demons. Yeah. But they've gone up a bit, you know. Being able to like counter the tough stuff with like a greater demon coming in is very, very strong. I don't think Be'lakor's a must, but I think he is a very strong, viable unit. So you absolutely can have Be'lakor. You can work around it. There's no immediate way. Yeah, the demons are weak to disco. They don't want to come for that kind of music. The Demons Fear the Cool mixtape. It's, you know, maybe it's just holy prayers. Maybe the Genestealer cult are putting out some very nice Sisters of Battle, like, soundtracks, and that's why the demons don't want to come to them. So that could be why. That could absolutely be why. You know, there's not a bad Sisters idea. Just have a Dialogus that constantly screams. Make that one of the Dialogus's abilities. Stopping enemy deep strike. Could be working. They're a very cheap character at the moment, like 30, 35 points. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Greater Demons, still very powerful. At the moment, you can't really go for one god because you haven't got that viability with the Codex detachment. When they get their Codex, their detachments are pretty obvious what they'll get. One for each of the different factions. Maybe one that's just your overall one, which should be the Be'lakor one. So I'm expecting 5 detachments for them. And then we'll see like, oh, this detachment, Slanesh demons get sustained hits. This detachment, Khorne demons get lethal hits. It's probably not going to be super specialized, nothing too crazy. They're fine. I think they're fine at the moment, even competitively. Let's have a look. Chaos demons. The demons of chaos. Yeah, they're looking very average. 46% up to 54%. That's where they're showing up in tournaments. So there's no way they're really getting anything other than mid. Be'lakor is good. Be'lakor is not necessary. Chaos demons in the middle. I may have to start getting faster for some of these different things. Right, Chaos Knights. That's another Chaos faction. You can still use Nurglings for secondaries. You can take the Nurglings by themselves because they're battle line. Maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe just the Plague Bearers should be. But Nurglings are battle line, so you can have units of Nurglings and they complete your secondary actions. They're the ones you use for coming on from reserve. They can deep strike. They can get in there, be all around and complete those secondary actions. And then you have the very big knights. It's pretty much still just war dogs. You can do big knights. You can do big knights for fun. When I've played against them, there's been at most one big knight. That's it. It's whatever like the minimum is. 8 detachments. Oh, I don't think the Chaos will get 8 detachment for every god, undivided, monster style, small style, and a mix. No. No. I think they'll just be the 4 gods plus the standard one they've already got, which is where Be'lakor fits in best. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the knights. They were okay in Apocalypse games when they first came out. It's like, oh, 1 knight, but even then, oh, I hit you with 10 fire dragons and you just die. They're either too much or they're too weak. There's no happy medium for them. I'm gonna look them up. Chaos demons, let me find Nurglings. Something in my mind is telling me that Nurglings can infiltrate. Nurglings, they have deep strike and infiltrators, so you can do either with them. Yeah, and if they're within 6 inches of an enemy monster or vehicle, then they're -1 to hit. That's not doing a lot. Their attacks are not doing a lot, but they are present to do different kinds of actions, secondary missions, Things like that. Hold objectives, allowing the war dogs to keep walking. Chaos Demons, points-wise, I don't think there's any major changes. No changes at all. No, they were just, these are working fine. Keep them as they are. Yeah, they're absolutely mid. Chaos Knights, yeah, the crows are evil. Run all big knights and Chaos Knights is a fun way to play. And against some enemies, that will be far too much. Against some enemies like the Leagues of Votann, it'll be perfectly fine. Their grudge tokens work really well against knights. They add Chaos Knights, add mech and roll. Alright, do like a Dark Mechanicus faction. Yeah, that's a popular idea. But the problem then is the Mechanicus are not a popular faction, so having them but Chaos may not work. I think the Games Workshop media team will be like, I don't know about that. They currently have Vashtor, they currently have the Electro Goad people, the ones from Blackstone Fortress, a unit of 4 of them, and that's the current showing for the Dark Mechanicum, plus all of the big monsters. I think they're needed just in the Chaos Space Marine army, otherwise you're stripping back the Chaos Space Marine army and they are just looking like a regular Space Marine army from like the past. I mean past editions, not just 30k. Plus they get things like Possessed. Yeah, Knights with Admech, I mean that could work. Sort of. I don't know how Games Workshop would do it. They're generally seeing that Fortifications, Flyers, and Titanic units, a little bit of a mistake. At least in terms of rules. Sales-wise, I'm sure it's fine. They'll still sell. But not the best. So I've put Chaos Knights are at mid. People who have played Chaos Knights and who have Chaos Knights, I know that the War Dogs are the meta way to play. Where are we seeing them in kind of tournament wins? It's looking average. What do your win rates look like? Yeah, the AdMech with mechs. It's nonsense, I know. When they first brought out the Armigers, it was with the AdMech in a box against the Necrons. Very nice looking. The Hellstalker, yeah, that's a Chaos mechy thing for the regular Chaos Space Marines. Entirely undefeated after 0 games. That's good. That's good. That's what we like to see. Anyone else played games, Chaos Knights, with them, against them? Are they doing alright? I think I've been getting about a draw with them. Yeah, 50-50. Doing better in Crusade, but Crusade you can really upgrade those vehicles to make them a lot better. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with them at mid. Now we're going to find a logo for Chaos Knights. Stumpy, but not big Stumpy, but... Oh yes, big Stumpy, but with spikes. Why? There it is, Chaos Knights. So Chaos factions are looking relatively happy in the mediums. Now I've seen Votann being mentioned a few times, so I'll do Votann next. How many armies do I have? About 7 or 8 for 40k. Some of them I haven't played much, some of them I haven't played at all this edition. And then quite a few of them, I mean I've played a lot of Sisters of Battle, played a lot of Genestealer Cult, played a lot of Chaos Marines, played a lot of Space Marines, got the Death Watch. Yeah, a few. Oh, should do Imperial Knights to get them out of the way? Sure, can do that. Canis Rex is a very good unit. If you're looking at sister allies, I would go for Canis Rex. Armigers are also very useful. Going with one or the other of them. So if you look at my Allies for Sisters video, the same advice there still works. Get Canis Rex or get Armigers. They work as well in their detachment. We're not seeing like, oh yeah, it's loads of Armigers like it is loads of War Dogs for the Chaos Knights. They're really good. Then you add in Imperial Agents and they do the secondary actions. Yeah, Canis Rex, but with a Cathedral. Absolutely stick a Cathedral on top. Why not? Why not? You thought you were bad with like 4 armies. 4 armies, plan to go with 8 or... Yeah, I don't play Horus Heresy, although I absolutely could. I have played it in the past because my Chaos Space Marine and Space Marine armies are viable in Horus Heresy. I do also play Old World. I haven't played much Age of Sigmar. I just kind of went off at this edition. 40k, 10th edition. I really liked it compared to 9th edition. It was much easier to understand the armies, and I wasn't like, oh, I've got to spend so long doing like homework and book checking and figuring out how my army even works before I put it on the table, which was how it was in 9th edition. Yeah, Warglaves are great allies. Canis Rex is great. Knight Lancer is a nice ally. Oh, yes, yes, the bigger one. Bigger one. Yeah. With the free tank shock. Yeah. Yeah. Decent as allies, but by themselves, they're okay. I think they're okay. It'd be cool if there was an optional advanced rules supplement. Then the problem is how much. I suppose that could be a. I mean, if you want, here's 40k, but with advanced rules, that's Crusade. You could just play Crusade. You could do. Doesn't have to be Crusade missions. You could do just the Crusade rules on top of normal 40k. So that could be a way of doing it. Yeah. I do also need to do a video about Crusade at some point. So many videos to do. So many of them like, oh, I can see this being very long as a video. Yeah, Knights are showing at just under 50%. I think they should be good. I like an average army. They make good allies. An average army. Okay, Imperial Knights, we're in the middle. Right, we'll do Votann, because Votan's been requested a few times now, and I've kept skipping over the Votann dwarves. They're a very small faction. They have a very small roster, is what I mean to say. Very small roster. But with their grudge tokens and the way that they now get free bonus grudge tokens, they can take down very big things like monoliths. They can take down the different knights. It works. They have a few valid meta builds. You can do land fortresses, which is just mainly as many land fortresses guys inside as you can. You have the Terminator kinds of dudes. You've got the heavy weapon kinds that come on from like outflank, and then you shoot and do a lot of damage. It's easy to make a meta list with them, even in like casual play. I know. I'll get angry at them getting short at them. They're decent. You played against them. They slap against elite armies. Yes. Yes. Have I done a comparison of like certain factions in 10th edition compared to 9th edition? Not really. It didn't really appeal to me as that idea. Because some of them play like very differently. And then it's, have they got the playstyle right? And then we know there's been a massive rules reduction and like a power reduction, which is good. I like that. We haven't got everything ignoring invulnerable saves. Or like, oh, it's strength 10. Well, now it's strength 9. Or, yeah, my melter gun went up by a strength, but so did all the tanks, so it's worse. Everything went down a little bit. Yeah, Votann don't do as well against hordes. When I was fighting against Votann, playing Space Marine Horde works pretty well. So Black Templar style, that works against Votann. Yeah, is it Hearth? No, Hearthkin are the regular ones. Big Hammer Man plus the Terminator kinds of guys. Yeah, they're very nasty. They're... I don't know whether to put them in strong or not. We're seeing a lot of elite armies being played. The thing is, if the orcs get popular, is it going to be the bully boys that go out? Is it going to be the more elite things? Or is it going to be the hordes of things? Oh yeah, drown the Votann in bugs. That'll work. That'll absolutely work. Fighting them against Genestealer Cult. Have I fought Leagues of Votann as Genestealer Cult? I don't know if there's been that many players that put them out on the table. That would be interesting. That would be fun. I fought them as Deathwatch. I fought them as Space Marines. I think that's it. They need to stand a little taller to being strong. Are you thinking mid then? I was tempted to put them strong, so that would be like level 2. Please type your options, your answer. What you think. 2 or 3 is probably what we'll go for. The middle. Middle, bit strong, bit strong. We're seeing 2s. 2s. I mean, for Votann players, I see Votann players are going for 2s, so we'll put them in strong. It is very easy. The important thing is I'll put them in strong because as casual games go, you're going to end up with probably a meta list anyway, unless you go so heavy on the regular Hearthkin. Yeah, that's how it's going to be. Tiny bit strong. Yes, really good with clear weak points, but not as many like weak points as like the Imperial Knights and stuff. Yeah. Okay, next one I've got is Adeptus Mechanicus. We've mentioned them a couple of times. Let's do the Adeptus Mechanicus next. The AdMech, they are just doing really badly. They got small points drops, but then there's an even bigger problem. Like, to be good with the orcs, you need to have a lot of orcs. Well, one style of playing it is a lot of orcs. To play AdMech at all, you need loads of dudes. You need to absolutely paint a horde, and they're really fiddly models, and they're really detailed. Yeah, it's really bad as an army. They're really expensive to buy. It's the worst. It's the worst. They've announced weeks ago that they were going to get a rework, but it wasn't going to be for April. They're going to do it next time in like June. So that's when they'll get a rework to their detachments. And then their points should hopefully go up, but they're expensive to buy. They're cheap units. Their best performing list at the moment, which I think is the cohort, the hunter cohort, that's a horde list. And you need a lot of models for it. Yeah, that's right. The strong AdMech builds rely on one way to play. It's like you have to play this way. The World Eaters had it, but they got good points drops to their baseline units. Yeah. I know a few people that saw them in like 9th edition. They were good at the start, like really good at the start of 9th edition. More people got interested in them just as a concept. They went down in power and they've stayed down. They were really quite bad when they were first announced. I did a video on that as like, oh yeah, this seems not great. You do radiation damage a little bit at the start of the game, and more of the enemy stays in the deployment zone. What if all but one of their units leave the deployment zone? What if they have a unit of 10 on the deployment zone? What if they're Necrons? What if they're Gene Stealer cult and they have a cult banner? Yeah, yeah. Just Castellan robots. One of the detachments supports Castellan robots, doesn't it, Alex? I think it does. But it's, I don't think there's going to be anyone saying anything other than ones. Type 1 in the chat for if they're in the very much concern level. £1 is 1 point. Oh, I mean, we have that on the Pyrovore. £30 for 1 point. Yeah, we're all going for 1. Yeah. Yeah. They're going there. Right, any preference on which army we'll look at next? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, about 15 left. So we're more than halfway. I will start speeding it up how we talk about them. Sisters, Deathwatch, yeah, we'll get the important ones out there. Okay. So, Sisters of Battle. We had the points changes so that our important secondary ones, the ones that do the secondary actions, the Crusaders, the Death Cult Assassins, they went up in points. Yeah. Should we just put Space Wolves in concern and move on? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But we will do the Sisters. So, we still have cheap Repentia. Repentia cheap and good. You can't add characters to them because then they would become too good. We got some points going up. We got some points going down. It is now slightly harder for us to complete secondary actions. Now, I know there's a lot of sister players here. Are you using Celestian Sacrosanct at all? Now that the points have gone down in Sacrosancts and they are like points per model better, I think they're better points per model than the Crusaders. Let's have a look at the Sisters. Number 1. We are, for the Adeptus Sororitas, Crusaders. 2 Crusaders are 35 points, 4 of them are 50 points. Celestian Sacrosanct 60 points for 5. It's still not looking good compared to just regular Crusaders. Not using them. They're viable now only because the Crusaders are more expensive, yeah. You could put Junith in them. I mean, they do need a character to be effective, which is kind of a shame. Should we put Sisters in strong? No, they're not actually just strong. No. Good. Good, good. Right, so what you can have instead of the Sacrosancts, which we're evidently not using, instead of the Crusaders and the Death Cult Assassins, which are 35 points and 45 points for 2, I mean, there's not really much point going for 4 of them for 50 points. Have a missionary, just a single missionary, and then you can have 3 of them. So that's a dude for 30 points. You could do the same with the Dialogus. Dialogus is also 30 points. So you can have them separately to complete the secondary actions. The only issue then is it's going to tempt your opponent to not go for the random secondaries, but to switch to fixed missions because of assassination. If you're running an extra 6 characters by themselves, right out in the open with no protection, assassination gets a lot more tempting. I mean, we have a lot of characters anyway to get stabbed. We don't have lone operatives unless you're going for the Imperial Agent Assassins. So a lot of people are going for the the Calidus Assassin or the Vindicare Assassin because snipers, we haven't got any snipers. Having them was very useful. So we haven't got any lone operatives aside from Ephriel Stern. Ephriel Stern is an option. The Demonifuge, 70 points, so that's the same as 4 Death Cult Assassins. Alternatively, though, you can have 2 missionaries. It's not bad just getting missionaries. I don't know if the missionaries have an invulnerable save. That's something I want to check. It's an Imperial Codex. It's a Sisters of Battle Index. Missionary. Because these are not in alphabetical order, why would they be in alphabetical order? Yeah, he has a 4+ invulnerable save. Missionaries are not bad. 3 wounds, 4+ save, so it's better than 2 Crusaders. And it's cheaper. Or yeah, you could just go Imperial Agents. That's the way to do it. But missionaries, when they die, generate miracle points. Yeah, having the missionaries aren't bad. Missionaries, pretty good idea. I would consider that. But then, yes, you're giving away victory points to your opponent. In Crusade games, I have a missionary by himself. Then we're not giving away assassination. Creatures are still good. You want more war suits? All war suits, 3 units of war suits, 1 with Morinval. Now that the Nundums, as people call them, the Paragon war suits, are cheaper and Morinval went up in points, they're more viable by themselves, but pretty much the only way you're going to want them is with Morinval. So 1 unit with Morinval is pretty much the only way people do it. More Paragon war suits, it's an option. They're not that tough though. They seem tough, but they're not that tough. And Meltagun will take them down. Yeah. Val guarantees 2 dead units your points back. The rerolls are nice. Definitely nice. Coming out from reserves, strategic reserves, then shooting something with multi-melters. No one else can play a High Lord of Terror. Yeah, there is that. Maybe she should get back to the table and the politicking stuff. It's an option. A furnace on wheels is a new vehicle. Mummy Val. Let's not call her that. 9 Paragon war suits and 4 mortifiers. It's a mecha list there. You'll be using the tank shock stratagem a lot for sure. Using sisters with armor, using vehicles, it does work. I don't know if Cole's a High Lord. I think he's just left alone to his own devices. Hello, Warlock of Wi-Fi. Yeah, there's no sisters on bikes. Not even in the lore, there's no bike sisters. If it's anything, it's always like we travel by jump pack. For speed. So my mechanized sisters video, that still very much works. Sisters were a bit cheaper. I mean, just if they were fewer monies, that would be nice. Yeah, I would like them to be feeling a bit more elite, because they can be a bit, yeah, we turn up, we die. Paul's been left to his own devices, or ordered to be on his own devices for, 10,000 years. He was only really introduced to be like, hey, I'm the dude who's done all the Primaris things to explain where the Primaris Marines came from. Yeah. The Triumph is still okay. It's, what, 2... Yeah, you can do 2 miracle dice. You can do 2 miracles rather than a million miracles, which works. Then the Triumph went up in points again. I tend to go away from the Triumph now. I try and do all of the other stuff, which is fine. But if you want to focus on the Triumph, you can. It's just one way to do sisters. Wants to be Fabricated General. I mean, every AdMech person probably either wants to be left alone or be Fabricated General. Yeah. Battle Sisters are a little bit squishy. Still. Arcoflagellants, you reckon, are still wanting after the nerf? Oh, still wanted. Still wanted. Yes, yes, very much still wanted. If you add the Preacher, +1 to wound. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that works. That works. Cyber Steeds of the Sky. And then we can have what? Valkyries? We call them Valkyries? Yeah? Squishy sisters. I know. Right. Where are we thinking for the sisters? A lot of you play sisters, you'll know from your games whether they're average, above average. I think I'm feeling okay with them. You think they're super amazing? Really? Average? We've got 3s. Pegasisters. Oh, no, not Pegasisters. You think they're a little bit weak? Oh, we're all over the place. So many different varied skill levels, maybe. Repentia horses. Bit above average. For the moment, if you have faith, they're top tier. Yes. Faith will see us through. But we're seeing average. I think they're really about average at the moment. They can be put a little bit above. It depends what you've got. Depends what your enemy's got. But yeah, I'm seeing them about as an average army. When we get a codex, then we'll have to reevaluate their whole skill level, depending on the detachments, because we might end up with the same thing as 9th edition and 8th edition. 8th edition was you go Valorous Heart competitively, because then your sisters last much longer. More units on the board, more battle sisters on the board for longer wins you the game. Then in 9th edition it was we go Bloody Rose because we get armor penetration on fists, extra armor penetration on pistols. It was really good to be like, okay, sisters are a combat army now. We have the versatility of some shooting and combat, or all shooting. Maybe one tanks for that, or all combat. Yeah. Pegasisters. Then you can fight the Juggernauts, but with wings. Emperor approved cheating. Yeah, yeah. Games. Classic beginner's brawl. Yeah, don't roll badly. That's the good advice. That's good advice for all the new players if you need to stop rolling badly. Do we do Custodes next? Or do you want to do Deathwatch next? We can do Deathwatch. Because I had more things to say on Deathwatch. I did a Deathwatch video already this week. But then we'll be wanting to transition to all of the Space Marine armies, which I think Custodes basically are a Space Marine army at this point. Right, the Deathwatch. If you're playing Deathwatch, you are playing Space Marines, but they're more expensive. You're just basically playing Codex Space Marines. There's no points reduction to the Fortis kill team, even though the Intercessor and Assault Intercessors went down in points. There was no points reduction for the Proteus kill team or the Deathwatch Terminators, even though the Space Marine Terminators went down in points. Pegasist. Yeah, Pegasisters is a word some people use for female bronies. I have heard that before, in no particular fandom. So, the Deathwatch, yes. The points, we basically had fixed points even back in January. So I think it is consistent with Games Workshop just not supporting us rather than, ooh, secret Deathwatch Codex coming out. I mean, if they do Codex Alien Hunters, the cowards better bring back the 3rd edition gang, and we want a Codex Witch Hunters, and we want a Codex Demon Hunters. That's the trifecta that we were missing, because we got Codex Witch Hunters, we got Codex Demon Hunters. That was like the introduction of the Grey Knights back in 3rd edition. But then there was no Codex Alien Hunters, no Xeno Hunters. They didn't bring in Deathwatch properly until 7th edition. You don't think they're long for this world as an army? There's not a lot for them to like keep up. If, following my video, they kept up like the Deathwatch veterans, and that was it, and you are just mixing and matching existing Space Marine models, that works. They don't have to support them in the way they've currently supported them. So you can play Space Marines, but with some Deathwatch unit choices, but you're basically just playing Space Marines. The stratagems are not great because they're only on bolt weapons. That favours regular Space Marine units, not the special weapon, like all the many weapon specialists you get the Deathwatch veterans who have Thunderhammers, who have frag cannons, who have missile launchers, things like that. And even then, the stratagem only affects 2 units. I have seen ideas that, okay, if you take the Black Spear Task Force, also add in lots of characters that give you lethal hits. So the Apothecary Biologus, the Space Marine Lieutenant. Then, when you get the one turn with the Black Spear Task Force, you can have a turn of everything gets lethal hits, everything gets sustained hits, everything gets precision, but only on a 6. on that turn where you pick lethal hits with sustained hits, that's a really strong one turn. But then you have the orc issue. That is your one strong turn, and after that you run out of steam quickly. Because then sustained hits doesn't stack with all the sustained hits you've got from all the characters. To get both at once, you just play Chaos Space Marines. So Chaos Space Marines are going to come out better. And with the, oh yes, you've got your 3 cool things, they're not doing enough. If it was every turn you get to pick one of them for your army, oh yeah, then the Black Spear Task Force is exceptional. I would love sustained hits on everything for the whole turn, or okay, we have 2 strong vehicles to get rid of. This one turn, everything's getting lethal hits. I could be happy with that, but one turn of precision on a 6, you might half kill a character. It's not the best. If you want precision as Deathwatch, then you use the Epic Challenge on your characters to stab enemies, or you play the Raven Guard detachment in Space Marines, then one of the stratagems for 2 command points, your unit has precision in combat, and you use your heavy Thunderhammers to smush the enemy characters. So I don't think there'll be an Imperial Agents, Deathwatch, Alien Hunters, Inquisition Codex. Yeah, we can inconvenience the Xenos. I think the ally system for that kind of book would be too odd. The current limit, the way the Imperial Agents works, is for an incursion, like your 1,000 points, you can have 1 character and 1 unit. For 2,000 points, you have 2 characters and 2 units. For 3,000 points, 3 characters, 3 units. How does that work for a Space Marine army? Do you just ally in a couple of Deathwatch units, and that's it? If they were, like, removed, but... okay, you could have a limit removed, but only for Space Marine armies, and then you only get the Deathwatch units, not all of them. The Deathwash, yeah. I don't think they're going to become their own thing, but I also don't think they're particularly strong at the moment. I don't think Space Marines are doing amazingly. The Deathwatch do not send in big armies. If there is a very big problem, then a Watch Fortress might muster as many things as possible. But that is a Watchmaster, a few Dreadnoughts, and like 5 Watch Companies. Each of them has about 50 Marines, each of them led by a captain. So you're looking at 250 Marines, like, max. That is the most they will send into battle at once. And that is a lot. They tend to go for, like, small task forces. So they're usually seen about, like, 1,000 points levels. Yeah. I could see Deathwatch get changes, but... I mean, their lore is quite good. That is good. Oh, yeah, Deathwash, the Power Wash Simulator add-on. So on a gaming table, veterans as allies would make sense. Yes. So it used to be, when they didn't really exist, Stern Guard were basically them. Because Stern Guard was the unit that got the special ammunition. Then it was moved to be just the Deathwatch. Oh, yeah, and Space Marine Scouts had the poison rounds on the heavy bolters, but that was from way back in like 1st edition, 2nd edition. I think 1st edition, because that was your Advanced Space Crusade. Yeah, that's when the first Space Marine Scouts in plastic came out. Yes, I have them. I have 2 squads of them. They're very fun. Yeah, it is very much, at the moment, we're bringing the fluffy pillows to torture the enemy. Having a lot of Terminators with Cyclone missile launchers is strong, but I don't know if it's as points like efficient as just we have lots of Terminators plus the other sub-factions get their own special kind of Terminators, like the Dark Angels get their own special kind of Terminators. You'll never forgive Deathwatch for that incident with Eldrad. Ah, you know, Watch Captain Artemis gets misquoted a lot on that. Because Eldar Harlequin Death Jester said, "Oh, if you kill me, then you're gonna be helping Chaos." And people think that Watch Captain Artemis then said, "Good, yeah, I love Chaos more than aliens. I praise Chaos," but he didn't say that. He was just like, "I bet Eldar are lying. All of the aliens always lie." And then he killed the Harlequin. Yeah, worst at everything. Deathwatch Terminators are very strong. Rather strong. I mean, having the shields, it's the mix of Assault and regular Terminators. I was hoping to see that just for Space Marines. 10th edition, why couldn't you just put the Assault Terminators and the regular Terminators together? Oh, but then it's too much plastic at once. Too big a kit. which is where like the Space Marine Tactical Squad isn't looking too good for its future, because that's 3 sprues. But we'll see. Imagine dooming your entire species and galaxy over racism. Welcome to the Imperium. Yeah. You're surprised at how badly the space dudes do. Well, the thing is, the Space Marines are the most commonly collected army, so for balancing purposes, they have to be in the middle. They have to try and get them in the middle. For 8th edition, 9th edition, they were incredibly strong at some points. Like, way too strong. Then, if you didn't have a Space Marine army, and remember that at least half the players, probably 3/4 of players who play 40k have a Space Marine army, because even if you like Tyranids this edition, or Necrons last edition, you buy the starter box set, oh, you have a Space Marine army. Yeah, this is very much a welcome to 40k. They're very cool in the lore as Space Marines. You want to get the Space Marines. Again, this is why I don't think the Traitor Guard would work as an army by themselves. Their entire lore would be, and then we got killed, and then we got killed, and then we turned traitor, and then we got killed. Because that is like the Imperial Guard already, but the traitors would also get killed by the Imperial Guard. Ooh, Assault Terminator kits for the Blood... Oh, like, released at the same time as the Blood Angels? Maybe. Maybe. Their unit is still sold, which is like the 5th edition Terminators. I never liked those models. I didn't get that set. I mean, I have like, I have 1st edition Terminators, I have 3rd edition Terminators, and I have the 6th edition Terminators. I skipped those ones for like the 5th edition. Yeah, okay, so we know that Deathwatch are really bad. So, Deathwatch... You are Deathwatch. Deathwatch are in the concern level. Unless people think that they're just weak. But I'm thinking concern. Space Wolves. They've got good lightning claws. They've got, you know, better Terminator units. Their Wolfen hammers are damage 2, so the Wolfen are doing well, despite being horrific werewolves. If you're putting the Space Wolves on the table, though, you're almost certainly using the Stormlance detachment. Their own detachment got a bit better. I play tested it, like, for fun as a little bit. I know it felt weird, but I would never play Space Wolves because, you know, werewolves. But I will happily play their detachment to see how it goes. They're not bad. They're not bad. The Terminator Captain's the only cult from Leviathan still not sold. He's got his own thing. It must be out by now. Terminator Captain. Because it was announced in like October there was going to be a standalone Terminator Captain. Yeah. Hello, L21. Hi. Stream is going well. Yes. All right. Wolfen put the opponent in wolf jail. Battle leaders. But I like their idea of like, here's a unit, and also we have a bonus guy. Yeah. Yeah. No, is he not being released yet? Let's have a look at the Warhammer website. Terminator Captain. Captain in Terminator is sold separately. Yeah, we've got him. Because he can be equipped with a power sword and stormbolter, or a power fist and combi weapon, or, you know, a mix of them. And it's like, yeah, it's the same. I mean, the combi weapon can be built as a plasma combi, a flamer combi, a melter combi. Just for this edition, it means nothing. It just looks kind of cool. Not that you can have combi weapons on your regular things. Oh, right. Yeah, he's separate, but not the same model as the one from Leviathan. Yes. Whereas we have had a weird little box release of like, oh yeah, here's your special people. Yeah. The Leviathan one is ever so slightly different. He's got a cape. It's all in the capes. And again, when the Hachette magazine comes out, you can get your Terminator Captain. But cheaper. Yes. Is it old? I mean, we don't know when Blood Angels and Space Wolves and Deathwatch and things are coming out. So it would be nice to see an expanded roadmap, but they'll probably only do that in June when they've actually had this. Oh yeah, this was the codex that was missing. This was the one, you know, the secret one. Yeah, the cape makes the difference. So, Space Wolves, I think they're about middle. Anyone who's played Space Wolves about there? Are we thinking about there? I should probably have done regular Space Marines first, because the way that all of the, apart from the Deathwatch, the way that all of the sub-factions are working is it's Space Marines, but better. So give me a 2, give me a 3, give me a 4. Strong, medium, or weak for the evil space wolves. Wolves in the weak? Or average, middling? Alright, they're middling unless you use their detachment, then they're weak. Okay. That works for me. Space wolves up there. I'll just not have them next to the Sisters of Battle. That just doesn't feel right. Right, so regular Space Marines. Gladius Task Force I really like, because unlike the Death Watch where it's like, oh okay, you get sustained hits, lethal hits, temporary minor precision, you're getting advance and charge, advance and shoot, fall back, advance and shoot, and charge. They're really good. They're really good. So I like the Gladius detachment. I like the Raven Guard detachment, because then you've got your really nice stealthy stuff. That can work. Yeah, blue salamanders. That is perfectly viable in this edition. I like the way they've done the detachments. We're seeing like Manius Calgar, the Apothecary Biologus, and Aggressors, and the enhancement. A lot of stuff. Yeah, so the Biologus shouts to shoot the gun better. That went up in points in January. Firestorm. Yeah, I tried Firestorm. I just don't have enough vehicles to do Firestorm. It's nice with Rhinos. It's nice with Razorbacks. I mean, I'm sure that the Primaris versions are also okay. Yeah, Gilliman for 2 oaths at the moment. Not bad. A lot of Flamers, so the Infernus Marines getting out of vehicles. Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. I think where if you've got the Infernus Marines and you're doing very much a near identical to what the Salamanders should be playing. I mean, Salamander players are very happy right now. Imperial Fist players are less happy, because the whole detachment for them is about staying still and using Gravis Marines, and Gravis Marines work better with the Apothecary Biologus in the Gladius Task Force. So this time round in April they got cheaper points for their Terminators, but I'm not seeing Terminators taken that much by Space Marine players, because if you want to go up the field and shoot things, you use Aggressors. If you want to deep strike behind the enemy and do secondary actions, you use Assault Marines with jump packs, or Assault Intercessors with jump packs, as I believe they're called now. Yeah, I love the detachments not being stuck by painting. Yeah, it's not just, oh yeah, well, I have these 7 detachments available, but I can't use these because of the colour of my army. Yeah. Drop pods with Infernus? That works. Yeah. Typing SM makes you happy, okay. Still going for Deathwatch just because they're cool and not the meta? Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the Deathwatch. It's fun, it's fun. Afternoon, hello guy. Infernus, yeah, as a Genestealer Cult player, I'm scared of the Infernus Marines. I don't like them. I also don't like the Primaris idea, the 30k idea of, oh, what if we had all the Flamers in one unit? I like my specialized units, and I like playing at smaller games where that's not as, obnoxious or weird. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate it if, by the end of the edition, we had, for the Space Marines, if by the end of the editions it was like, okay, you are playing Space Wolves, if you include any Space Wolf units, you have to play one of the Space Wolf detachments. At the moment, it's not going to work because we haven't got the expanded codexes for, you know, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Deathwatch, Black Templars. But by the end of the edition, if it was, okay, if you're playing Dark Angels, you must use one of the Dark Angel detachments, then I think it would be fine. Then it would work. It's too soon for that at the moment, and it's not quite fair to the Space Wolves. I mean, their detachment is fine. It could be much better. Bad Space Marines. No. Yeah, all Flame Assisters units when? We used to have Dominions that could be run in squads of 5 in 9th edition, which was 4 Flamers and a Sister Superior with a Combi Flamer. That was all Flamers. That was fun. Coming out of an Immolator. Extra fun. Yeah. So, Space Marines, I think. Are we thinking mid? Are we thinking low? I know they're not going to be stronger than the Space Wolves, just from off what we said already. How are we feeling? 3? 4? Strong, medium, weak? Give me some numbers in the chat. Low? Low to mid? Go with mid? I mean, they do have a lot of units. They are indeed slightly underwhelming. Okay. If we're saying 3 for mid, I'm happy to go for that. Vanguard Spearman as a Black Templar with a lot of dudes infiltrating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's probably a sign of a pretty good edition if the Space Marines are in the middle. And I'm enjoying this edition. I think more than 9th edition. I know a lot of tournament people like 9th edition. If you had one army that you played all of the time, you could get so deep into its tactics. It was great for that. But as I've said, I have like 8 armies. And I keep accidentally picking up more. So it's not the best for me when I was like, okay, this week I want to play this faction. Oh, there's so much to learn and figure out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could see that. You could see that. Other people, not so much. Letting the non-codex compliant chapters use the chapter detachment until the end. Yeah. Yeah, if you're using Blood Angels, then only Blood Angels things. And that seems fair. Yes, that is another thing to remember. Thank you for mentioning that, worst at everything. Their low win rate at tournaments, which I'll just check now. Space Marines tournament stats. Yeah, they're looking at about 40% win rate, but up to 50%, 55%. It can vary depending on the tournament, averaging about 40%. But yes, they are the new player thing. So if new players have them, then it's going to bring down the win rate. How do I accidentally buy an army? I accidentally see something cool and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should. Maybe I should. Whammy time. 1st edition playing. That's fine. Having fun with it is the most important thing. And buying the things that look cool, ideally I would say stick to the core of the army is best. If your army is entirely flyers and fortifications, you may have a bit more of a problem. Yeah. Oops. I mean, the amount of times they try and get you to go into a Games Workshop store and then walk out with an army, that is their whole marketing thing. Ooh, these are cool. Do you want one of these? Because their new stuff sells well. So when they've been doing like, oh, hey, here's the Chaos Space Marines. All that's new is a character. Do you want that new character? Do you maybe want another unit to go with it? Kit bashing ideas is what draws me at armies. Yeah, same. Absolutely the same. Can I take these 2 units, smash them together, and make all the characters I need plus all the other units? How do you have 2,000 points of Votan? Is that just the same units over and over again? Yeah, Mini of the Month is the free crack version of the hobby. This month it's the Crusader. The Age of Sigmar Crusader man. So if you want to get them, you can have a Crusader. Which sort of works in 40k. Or, you know, yeah, the first one is free, exactly. Last month was the Deathwing Terminator, and I was able to get 2 of them. So that can go in my Deathwatch army. They look nice. They look nice. Got like 7 Deathwatch Terminators. So that can work, maybe. Yeah, Kill Team is nice. It's an excuse to buy different armies. I liked it when it played a bit faster. Kill Team for me at the moment, it seems to take almost the same amount of time as a 1,000 point game of 40k. At which point, I would rather pay 1,000 points of 40k. Deathwing. Yeah, Deathwing, Deathwatch. Turn a Deathwing into a Deathwatch. That's what I was doing. Turned your free Deathwing Knight into a Terminator Chaplain. Oh, yeah. Good idea. Good idea. Just got to swap the sword for a maul. Or a stick. Yeah. They were still pushing new armies in the early 90s. Oh, they're always doing new stuff. Like, yeah. Sometimes we have armies go away, then they come back. Now we've reached the point of, like, some kits are going to go. Yeah, you can make a command squad. You could have, with 7 of them, you could have 2 Proteus kill teams. That can work. Right, Blood Angels. Blood Angels, they had a change to the Sons of Sanguinius detachment in January, so they get extra strength and attacks. It's fine. I think they're better off with the Gladius Task Force, which is good for combat because you can advance and charge. You can fall back and charge. That's really useful. Their elite units are still very expensive, and the Death Company just went up a bit more. So I'm finding them, you know, no, they're not going to be better than Space Marines. For Blood Angels, give me some numbers. Are we thinking they're 3 for happy medium? Are they 4 for weak? I don't think they're quite in the concern level of Deathwatch. They're not too overpointed. And they at least had some support. Yeah, I'm still waiting on Battlefleet Gothic to return. Although it did return as a computer game. Happy Medium. Happy Meal. Imagine if you got Warhammer figures with your Happy Meal. How many Happy Meals would people buy? Assault intercessors with jump packs. You can just say assault marines. You don't need to say this whole thing. It's fine. It's permitted. They're good and cheap. Yeah, they suit them very well now that they're an extra unit. With that extra unit, then they don't need to go so much for the hyper elite Blood Angels things. I'm happy with a 3. Since we're getting a lot of armies in the happy medium, it is looking like a good addition for the moment. Changes all the time. Black Templars, the points are up on their Crusaders, but only the small unit of Crusaders. Only one of the kinds of unit Crusaders, not the Primaris Crusaders. So a horde of Black Templars with 20 Marines in a squad, that still works. Sword Brethren are up a few points, like 2 points per model. They mostly work as a squad of 5. Much like the Chaos Chosen, 5 is probably best. Then you can add Helbrecht to a unit, you can add the Emperor's Champion to a unit, you can add a Judicar to a unit. All of these are entirely viable things. The tournament stats at the moment, I think we're on 52%. It's slightly above average. Games Workshop partners with the clown that need free healthcare. Yeah, just to get the fat out of your arteries. Or food banks would be entirely, here's your free Happy Meal. Where's my model? Oh, someone took that. Yeah, no love for the 5-man firstborn for Black Templars, which is kind of fair enough, because they were just, and now all my secondary units actions are done by really cheap Marines, because they were 13 points a model. 65 points, which is 5 Celestian Sacrosancts, or you get 5 Space Marines. It wasn't quite right. Oh, that's your 2,000 points games. 4 Sagittars, 2 Karls, 1 is the special character, 2 full squads of Hearthguard, 2 Land Fortresses. Yeah, it's 2 of everything. I'm noticing 2 of everything. Oh, imagine getting a happy little cultist with your little Happy Meal. Yeah, that seems nice. Just gotta have it so it's not a choking hazard for children. So you have to give a full Terminator. You have to. Here's an Armiger. Everyone gets an Armiger. If there was a thing that came out like it looks very Armiger-like in a Happy Meal, I would mention that, if it ever comes up. Like, Happy Meal's now doing these. Go to McDonald's. Yeah. 95 attacks from 20 Crusaders is very bonkers. So, still top tier. Rates for the community going up. Let's see. Black Templars. B for Black Templars. Yeah, they've got them as kind of average for tournaments. I was putting them as strong. Not like Orc strong, but definitely strong. I have had trouble with them. Definitely, for my Gene Stealer cult. Because there's just so many guys, and their tanks are tough, and they have better tanks than the Space Marines. Those points have got up a bit, but I wasn't facing any like, oh yeah, here's just 5-man Black Templar squads. It was all full Crusade hordes. Give me them numbers. Tell me where we're putting them. Free Rhino with a Happy Meal, yes. Ah, so that's Combat Patrol, Boarding Patrol, Defenders of the Ancestors. Wow. Yeah. 2s? 2s? I think 2s. I'm happy to put them in strong. We'll go with Black Templars in strong. Have we done all the Space Marine things now? We haven't done Dark Angels. Dark Angels have some new stuff. They have slightly cheaper Terminators. Some people are finding them, oh yeah, this is amazing. Other people, not so much. I'm finding them to be a not so much. Rhinos are free. This isn't 7th edition when the Rhinos were free. Ooh, that was an awkward time. I've seen the you can do a lot of Terminators with a Deathwing detachment. It can go well. It can go well. I haven't seen too much gameplay of them. I've seen other players have them and they were like, it's fine, or it's better than before, or it's like the Lion is cheaper, which is nice to get him on the board more often, but he's nowhere near as tough. One of every unit of Votan should be pretty easy to do. Yeah, it's the easiest army to claim that. I mean, you could do it with World Eaters as well. World Eaters can work. But yeah, other armies have units no longer sold. I mean, the squats. A lot of squat things. They weren't sold anymore. The trike, the bike, which was sort of remade, I guess. Yeah. So, Dark Angels, I'm thinking... Oh, Dark Angels... Oh, the old models don't count because they're squats. These are Leagues of Votan. Okay. Dark Angels, are we thinking 2 strong? Are we thinking 3 happy medium because they can just do Terminators really cheaply, otherwise they're Space Marines? 2s? I have no real professional input on this. 2 or 3? Let's see if we can break the deadlock. 2s? I mean, I can do it. Is there a little poll thing? Ooh. I can do a little poll thing. That just says Dark Angels. Okay. That's a shame. That almost worked. Happy meals for them. That's the one. I want to start a poll. I never use these. There we go. Now there's buttons for people to click. Yeah. One option poll. You're seeing orcs a lot more. I'm seeing orcs a lot more. Yeah, people who have orcs are doing the orcs a lot more. Anyone who's orcs is like bringing them out. Otherwise, I saw them a little bit and then it was facing like the jump as a tactic, or it was trying to get battle wagons to work, or trying to get mega nobs to work and they didn't so much. I have to play Dark Angels thematically, so it's Terminators, bikes, oh yes, and a lot of plasma. Is it a one option poll? Did it mess? Oh no, it's still there. It works. 19 votes. The best Dark Angels list is Azrael and then a ton of regular Marines. I did see, I think it was Azrael in the... What are the plasma Marines called? The ones that just have the plasma guns. The ones that were introduced in the 8th edition. The ones that are definitely not just 30k Marines with plasma guns. Mini Stomper and the Happy Meals. You know, I feel you're liking the idea. The Hellblasters, yes, yes. That works quite well. That works quite well. Okay. The poll has got enough votes now. So we'll go with... We'll put them in 3. They're a medium. What? They end up at the bottom. Come on, move. Move. No! I want to go in the right place. Oh, are we running out of space or something? There we go. Good. Definitely not technical difficulties. Grey Knights. They are basically Space Marines. We'll do the Grey Knights. They've got a few points changes for like their regular stuff. They still don't have any great anti-tank. What people were doing for anti-tank was using the Dread Knights, but the Dread Knights have gone up in points. Their regular guys, the ones that you're taking for like all of your games, they went down in points. So that's very much like how the Chaos Space Marines are getting a bonus. They're still incredibly tough. They have a multiple wounds and a 2+ save. They've got Terminators as battle line. Now their Terminators didn't go down in points, but all the other units did. They like having those guys, plus Inquisitors. They have Imperial Agents to do their secondary actions. They include Inquisitor Draxus a lot. Even though Draxus is an alien hunter, and they are demon hunters, because the +1 to hit against all of the aliens was beating the meta for a while. Necrons were the top of the meta. Eldar were the top of the meta. Orcs, they could be the top of the meta. Necrons might not be that far down. So having a Inquisitor that gives you +1 to hit against aliens, very good choice. So if you have an Imperial army, I do recommend Inquisitor Draxus. I just wouldn't say so in a Sister's army, because then you're putting alien hunters in your Witch Hunter army. But it could be. You see Grey Knights allying in an armoured Warglaive to help with any tank. I think that works very well. Canis Rex can also work very nice. Toughness 8 for Dread Knight is weird. That is the same as a Dreadnought, isn't it? I think it might be. They're either toughness 7 and 8 wounds, or toughness 8 and they have some wounds. Let's have a look at just the Space Marines. Space Marine units. Ballistus Dreadnought is toughness 10. Yeah, why is the Dread Knight not as high a toughness? I mean, the Contemptor Dreadnought in Legends is toughness 9. The regular Dreadnought is toughness 9. You know, the boxy, the good one. So having a Dread Knight as toughness 8, well, I think it's because they stick their pilot on the outside of the vehicle. That's probably why. Inquisitor Cortez is funny against Gene Stealers. Is he preventing Deep Strike? Inquisitor Cortez. Feel no pain against demon things. Each time your opponent gains a CP as a result of ability, on a 2+, you also gain 1 CP. So when the neophytes of the Gene Stealer cult are generating command points... Is that Cortez? Yeah, then Cortez is also getting them. 5+ feel no pain against psychic attacks. It works well against, you know, 1,000 Suns. I can see these Inquisitors being taken more. Inquisitor Greyfax, Anti-Psycho 4+. Okay. Enemies can't fall back as easily. It's not as bad, but the castigation power is like the regular Inquisitor, but it's like a anti-tank super snipe stuff. Yeah. Dread Knight is just not fully enclosed. That's why they've only got toughness 8. So the Grey Knights see a size update. Maybe. We'll see what happens to them. Yeah. The Inquisitor Throne Walker, is he still around? Inquisitor Karamazov. While friendly unit is within 6 inches of them, add 1 to Battle Shock and Leadership test. While an enemy unit is within 6, they subtract 1. Pick an enemy within 12 inches to take a Battle Shock test in the shooting phase. He has a multi-melter and a sword. He is toughness 8 with 9 wounds. He's basically a Dread Knight. Infiltrator Warsuit. I mean, I can see them using just armigers instead. I think the Dread Knight is just an awful model anyway. But as people are considering having to deal with loads of orcs, the anti-infantry stuff that you can get for all of the, you know, Grey Knight stuff, that's really good. That's really quite useful. Then to get anti-tank, yeah, you can use an armiger, you can use Canis Rex. Neither of these are bad ideas. Baby carrying armor. You fought the Grey Knights yesterday with the Bully Boys. 3-inch deep of Purifiers and Crows and killed the Grots. Caldo and 10 Terminators killed the Nobs and the War Boss. But after that, you get everything. Yeah. Yeah, the Silencer's the embodiment of just guns. I think I've had a similar thing. Yeah, it sounds like an Invicted Tactical Warsuit to me. Yes, but bigger. I also don't like the Invicted Tactical Warsuit. I don't know how you can have a Stealth Dreadnought. Don't like it. Doesn't work. So, as people are considering how to deal with loads of orcs, having anti-light infantry, then the Grey Knights might do better. As we're getting more heavy infantry, if the Bully Boys become more popular and the Dread Mob becomes more popular, then people will have anti-Grey Knight weapons anyway. They're currently on about 50%. They've gone down as people were having to like deal with Custodes a lot, because anti-Custodes weapons also work really well against Grey Knights. I don't have armor and I'm not dead, so I'm stealthy. Yeah, no. It's been a while since the first time the Grey Knights came out in 3rd edition. They had the shiny armor rule, which meant you couldn't shoot them or damage them over a certain distance. Okay. Let's see how we think about the Grey Knights. I like doing these little poll things. They're nice. Just clicking a button. Then everyone can click a button without having to type in the chat. I mean, you can type in the chat if you like. But you think Grey Knights, are we going to go with... Are they very weak? Are they strong? I don't think they're like in a concerning level. Yes, they have very old models. They're from like 4th and 5th edition. I think their revamp was in 5th edition. Yes. Revamp was 5th edition. So it has been 5 editions since they had really new models. I wouldn't mind if they did slowly disappear. They haven't felt like a real army to me for a while. Good units, bad models? If anything, I would be okay with them being rolled into a, and now we are the Inquisition. If we're doing a Grey Knight Advanced Lore, where Gilliman has come back and said, hey, you don't have to be super secret stealthy and, you know, assassinate anyone who sees you. It's fine to not do that. Civilian casualties are not a requirement of, you know, you turning up to the battlefield. It would be fine if we had some people left afterwards. Then I can see an advancement with the plot there. Yeah. Silent engines, the more expensive to make. Okay. Right, looks like the poll is on... Go for strong. I can see strong. You don't have to kill civilians. Yeah. No, we should not wear sisters for the drip. Okay, we're putting them in strong. I think that is fair. If they've got the Warglaves, if they've got Canis Rex for that anti-tank, they will do quite well. Until people are bringing more anti-bully boy things, anti-custodes things are not as necessary anymore. Maybe we should go with custodes next, because they now feel to me, I played against them recently, they feel like a tough Space Marine army. They are about on par with like Chaos Space Marine Possessed. Things like that. That is the level the custodes are at. Custodes. Where did I put my notes on custodes? There we are, right. They have once again lost the 4+ feel no pain against devastating wounds. So they had it, then they didn't have it, then they had it, now they don't have it again. Their very important fight first stratagem or ability from Trajan is no longer possible. That was one of the main reasons the custodes were good. You charge them to tie them up or to kill some of them, and you just can't because they fight first. B for bananas, they're strong. Orc big meta counter versus folks expecting armor. Yeah, I mean, horde of orcs, that's the good thing about orcs. You can do a horde of orcs, which is very much a different kind of weapons you need to fighting a load of mega knobs and knobs. Yeah. Yeah, so the custodes have gone down quite a bit in power. You need more of them now to be an army. I think what Games Workshop is doing is you're gonna have to buy more of these models to make them work. People are quitting custodes saying they're not fun anymore. Yeah, that's about right. Yes. That is the reason I'm seeing for some people just not liking them. And it feels odd that the Sisters of Silence are there cheap holding the objective unit when Agents of Imperium already exist, so you don't need them. Yeah, their points drop was a bit deceptive. Their points drop is compared to their codex that came out. The only things that did drop in points, I think, were Trajan and their Lieutenant Blademan. Yeah, so the Hyper Elite armies are a bit odd to balance. This is why it's not about right. I think, you know, the top end of, like, Elite should be the Space Marines. And yes, you can have Grey Knights and Deathwatch, which are slightly more specialized Space Marines, but that should be the cap. And I don't mean that in the new way where I think cap means lying. I'm not entirely up on all the lingo for shizzle, but we try. Maybe anyone who admits it was Grey Knights, yeah, say Silver Space Marines, they get to live. That can work. For real, yes. Trajan the Blade Champion went down. Yeah, that's the Lieutenant guy, yeah. They went down 10 points. The regular Dreadnought went down 10 points or 15 points. Valerian and his friend went down 5. Yeah, that sounds about right for all the points drops. Otherwise, there was not much else. It just looked like points drops compared to what they were initially posted as in the Codex. Yeah. So they have Sisters of Silence, which are their cheap objective holding unit. You have units of 4, just because of how you can also build the character leader out of that box. I'm not thousands of years old. I'm not that old. The Custodes are easy to paint. They're a great army for beginners, because you can just spray them gold, and that's basically them done. Especially if you go for the Custodes that are regular Custodes, not the Custodian Wardens, because the Wardens have the bath towel around their legs. The regular Custodes don't. So you spray them gold, it's done. Yeah. So it feels odd they have the Sisters of Silence when the agents exist. Their precision bolt guns are kind of fun. I would like that on like a Sisters unit. I mean, this is real precision. Actual precision. I would love to get true precision on the Deathwatch in the Black Spear Task Force. Just, there we go. Once per game, every unit has precision. Oh boy. Maybe it's a bit much actually, if your las cannons are just hitting characters. But everyone in the enemy army that's a character instantly dies. That's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. But you can't even use attachments to force the Custodes to be good. Yeah, you think it's cheap, then you see 50% their unit range is Forge World. Yeah. Yeah. I spend the day in the coffin. Ooh. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome, Philip. Blood Angel friend wants to start them. Their problem is they're swinging very much between. They're amazing, they're terrible, they're amazing, they're terrible. and they can't get the Sisters of Silence to work. If anything, if they were like, oh, okay, here's a generic small Imperial things, it's got your Custodes, it's got your Sisters of Silence, it would have your, well, they could be like your Witch Hunters, yeah, I could see that. And then your Grey Knights and your Death Watch, that would have all gone together, but since Custodes got their own codex, I expect the Death Watch to get their own codex as well. They have 2 real detachments, the Talons and the Shield Host. They haven't got any real variety from the codex, and they play like it's 9th edition, but it's not 9th edition. Yeah. They do have that 1 gun unit, which is quite powerful, but they do feel like it's a Space Marine army, but a bit more. Okay, I'll set up a poll for these. I'm enjoying doing these polls. Where are we putting these? I'll put a few options. More than normal. Okay. And we're not ranking the flavour of custard. I just like that it's custard. The Sisters of Silence. Oh yeah, they got their own detachment. It was indeed pretty useless. Let me have a look at it. I'll get it here, then we can briefly talk about it, because I'm assuming not many people have seen the Adeptus Custodes codex. Their detachment for the Sisters only. Okay, we have... Which one's this one? Talons of the Emperor is where you get bonuses to the Custodes from the Sisters of Silence, and the Sisters of Silence get the bonus from the Custodes being nearby. So it can work. The Shield Host is your Custodes, like, main one? You get a special thing once per game. That's your main Custodes. Then there's the Null Mage and Vigil, where you cause Battle Shock. Ooh, yay, it's Battle Shock. Battle Shock is not amazing. It's not quite working right this edition. I don't know which edition it has worked great in. I did kind of like it when units ran away. That was quite nice. But that was very much a, this is Warhammer Fantasy Battles in 40k. Yeah, so your Prosecutors are also battle line. It's trying to work. It doesn't quite work. The other thing that doesn't quite work is having different things where, oh yeah, you get... what do you get? Bonuses if you're below half strength, and more bonuses if you're below half strength. It should, yeah, below starting strength, below half strength. It should be half strength and lower, maybe. Or just, yeah, you taken wounds can count, yeah. Yeah, 3rd edition it kind of worked for running away. Probably. I think it's quite nice to also have the falling back ability, because 3rd edition was so very combat army heavy. Being able to charge a unit, not get shot if the unit survives, and then being able to pile into another unit and then fight again. It was a lot in 3rd edition for combat units. That was the only edition I think that has favoured combat armies. Yeah, the Null Maiden detachment. So people are saying we're still thinking strong? They're a strong army? Or we go, oh, I mean, that's like... Maybe I've given too many options. Talons has a -1 AP strat that's kind of better for them. Yeah. Yeah. No Maiden's detachment. The Null Maiden's detachment. Battle Shock is better than other iterations lore-wise. Yeah. Hope in 11th edition they figure it out. Yeah, not being able to fall back inconvenient without inconveniencing yourself. Yeah, yeah. BS doesn't work. If it did work, you'd hate it? 0. Oh, right, I get it. I get it. It's German puns. 0 Maiden's detachment. Right. They're not a broken army. They're still solid. When I fought against them, they had a very good turn. When I charged them, they killed a bunch of my stuff. In their turn, they killed a bunch of my stuff. But then in my following turn, I was able to basically wipe them out and have the board to myself. So they're medium till people play more with them. Ooh. The bikes are not great at the moment. Yeah, no detachments really focused on them. As we're so split more between like 2 and 4, but now I'll put them in the middle. That seems about right. Maybe not the happy medium though, but medium. And that might be the best way to do it. They are much easier to kill. Yeah. Yeah. And they have the same amount of models on the table. They are just elite Space Marines. Okay. What do we got for Tau? Now, the Tau Codex hasn't been out very long. I mean, it has in, like, leaked form, but... And I did two videos on the Tau. So I've done a detailed review. They have the units to work well with them. So the Tau have the very powerful battle suits, and then you can also have the Kroot for sticky objectives. That's good in all of the different attachments. Tau Yun got a lot better. Montcar may be the way to go if you're thinking more vehicles or just hitting them there. Yes, Tau pause ow. Because it's T-ow. It's always been said by a Yorkshire person. Tau. Except you don't really pronounce the apostrophe. Okay, it's how someone who's from the south would pronounce a Yorkshire accent. It's how some of the actors that are from London would say it if they're like, oh yes, I'm in Yorkshire drama. T-ow. Tower kind of question mark until they actually have their real points. Yeah. Yeah. Which is expected to be coming out, I would say this Thursday, maybe the Thursday after. Soon. They should be soon. Yorkshire Tau. Yeah, rather than Yorkshire Tea. Sponsored by Sean Bean, or Sean Bean is there saying like, I've got this Tau, do it for Yorkshire Tau. Soon, yeah, soon TM is when it is. Remember when broadsides were infantry? No, no one remembers that. They've been soon for 2 months, yeah. The thing about the Kroot detachment, which I did analyze in detail, it's, they lack armor penetration. So if you're against Custodes, if you're against Grey Knights, if you're against Space Marines or Chaos Marines, apart from if it's Cultist Heavy Chaos Space Marines, you're going to be doing badly. They love killing Imperial Guard, which is why when they did a battle report on Warhammer Warhammer Plus, they did it on Warhammer Plus, that's where it was like, yeah, they did Imperial Guard because they don't have much of a save anyway. So maybe it's best to say they're fun. That we can maybe rank the Tau based on detachments of fun. Are they fun? Let's see. I'll do another poll. That'll be the way to do it. Warhammer Minus, ooh. I mean, Warhammer Minus is just YouTube. It's the same as what we've got here. It's just all of us being like, yeah, we're not Warhammer Plus because you don't have to pay for us. I mean, you can pay towards us, which really does help. Again, there's that Ko-fi link in the description if you wanted to throw some tip money my way. That would be nice. But yes, YouTube is Warhammer Minus. My friend's got a physical Tau book for 2 months. The fact they don't have pounds, yeah. Yeah, I suppose Legions Imperialis is Warhammer Minus because it's smaller scale. Warhammer Miners. Oh yeah, either spelling of miners. We have Votan. We have Genestealer Cult, depending on which kind of miner you are. Okay, the Tau are fun. We'll put them in. We're happy with them. They go there. I've just got to extend that box. Come on. This comes up. This comes down. That works. Don't have money. Oh, sorry to hear that, Mark. Oh, yes, you bought all of the Walking Dead things. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope to do another live stream later this month. Like, towards the end of the month. Maybe people would have money then. But that'd be nice. Oh, I know I get all the people who are like, we play Warhammer, we spend our money, what little we have, on the Warhammers.
Eric just tipped 3.
Ah, thank you for the tip money, Eric. Thank you very much. That is a perfectly reasonable and happy amount of tip money. That's great. Thank you. Oh, I feel I can definitely keep going to the next few ones. Right, Necrons. We've got Necrons. We've got Drukhari. We've got Eldari. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Which one do we want? I mean, I could put this as another poll if I want, since I found out how the poll button works. I already have an active. Okay. Eldar, let's talk Eldar. We've got Eldar, right. Eldar, so.
Ragnar just tipped 3 tippy tip.
Tippy tip. Oh, thank you, Ragnar. I'm sure you're not named after the terrible space wolf Ragnar Blackmane. Thanks a lot. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's good that most armies are average or better. This was not how it was at the start of the edition. It was not how it was in 9th edition, where if you played demons but Tzeentch demons, or if you played Chaos Space Marines but allied in Tzeentch demons, or you played Thousand Suns and you had lots of Flamer demons, they were absurd. They were right at the top, like 75% win rate. Votan were up there as well. It was awful. Yeah, that's what I find about Tau. They can be fun to play, but they can be really frustrating to play against. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Eldari. We don't know why they're spelt with an A at the beginning. Wolves hater all the way. That's the standard Dark Angels way. Ah, wonderful. Thank you, Ragnar. Yeah, rules are temporary. I mean, as long as they come round again, as long as we have rules for the Celestians with guns, you know, then it should be fine. Right, so the Eldar got another nerf. Again, but after all of the nerfs they've had since like August, October, January, finally they're coming down to be normal. They're still strong, they're just no longer crazy strong. So you can do Ynnari, because then you get cheap Dark Lancers. You can have Kabalites with Bladestorm. That is really powerful. Devastating wounds on a 3+, I think that's how it is. Yeah. Yeah, every critical wound is a devastating wound. Yeah.
Guy just tipped 5.
Oh, thank you, Guy. Thank you. You know, I should actually ask for tip money more often. I keep forgetting to do it in videos. I'm just like, oh yeah, well that was the video. People will enjoy that. Oh wait, I need food. Thank you, everyone. Yes. That is why Games Workshop wanted a unique copyrightable world. Now, Eldar have a large roster. They don't have new units, like new models. They're still using 30-year-old warp spiders. In theory, in Potato Cam Leak, they should be getting new warp spiders. But they can adapt. They had Wraith Knights, they had Fire Prisms when they stopped being good. They had Night Spinners, they had Wraith Guard when they stopped being as good. They had the Avatar when that stopped being as good. They've got more things. Yeah, they're really strong, but they can't bully people even more than they already have. Yeah, so Guardians got a points drop. That's good. I played against someone whose list was all Guardians. Like 60 Guardians and then as many Storm Guardians as they could fit in for the rest of it. It was a lot of fun. Because as he said, people love killing Eldar. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the food is just to take people out on dates before they give me their blood. Or just as an exchange. Here's a burger. I keep the Warhammer toy, you give me some blood. Yes. We have a very deep roster. Yeah, they've got a lot of Legends units. They've got a lot of Forge World units as well. And yeah, the Storm Guardians are very good. So what you can do, start your Storm Guardians on an objective. It becomes sticky on your turn. Then they can move off it. You can then protect that with your Guardian Defenders and they can generate Fate Dice. The Guardians, with the Storm Guardians, they have 2 Melter Guns in the squad. That's really powerful. Really powerful. The modification to their army rule was nice. It's still really good. It's just annoying that it's so much like the sisters. I do not like that they are basically battle sisters but elves. Yeah. Banshees went down in points. They may see play. The Banshees going down in points is good if you have... do they always have fight first? Or do they only get fight first when you put the Phoenix Lord? Ooh. That's something I want to look up. Aliens. Eldari. Are these alphabetical? They are alphabetical. That is so good. Jane Zar. Jane Zar gives them +1 to hit, and they can heroically intervene for free. So Howling Banshees, they have fight first as a standard thing. Yeah, that's just a core ability. And they can charge after advancing or falling back. Now that should be really useful against the Orcs. Yeah, they always have that. Good. So fight first, it upsets Orc players. They charge in, oh, they die. It's going to upset Custodes. They charge in, they get power swords to the face. They're going to die. But despite nerfs every time, I mean, supposedly according to the stats, people have gotten more used to the Eldar. They're 52%, 46%. I'm not seeing like any army that's like crazy high. I think when they release the Meta Watch, which they may not be doing yet because like, oh, it's not actually perfect and we want it to look perfect, then it can be good. It's like, oh yeah, everything's in the Goldilocks zone. We're so happy with it. That might be where they go with it. Lore-wise, they're different. Yeah. Yeah. I know, in this edition, everything is... This is a generic rule. +1 to hit. Enemies -1 to hit. Rarely. Sustained hits, lethal hits. That's the standard way. Yeah. Oh, the Vizier gives the Harlequins fight first. Yeah, Harlequins were a thing that was like... They also have the Harlequins to call on. They used to be their own thing. Now they got stuck into the Eldar. Yeah. I mean, that could be one way to do Deathwatch. Just include them in Space Marines. We know they're not doing that because they've already got a Space Marine Codex. Your Vrain gives the Quins Feel No Pain 5+. Yeah, they also, however, melt against anything that's a torrent weapon. Flamers really hurt them. Cultists hurt them because they usually don't have the number of attacks to kill like all of the cultists, and then anyone fighting back with strength 3, even with no armor penetration, it's going to get rid of them. As if the Space Marines only get 1 codex in addition. Okay, well, this might be the time, but it's only been a year since it came out, so it could happen. They could just roll it in as 1. That's going to be a very big book though. And they already have it where Deathwatch players and like Space Wolf players already have to buy the Space Marine Codex and then the add-ons. Yeah. Right, okay, I'll do the quick poll. Let's start a poll. Let's just have it all vowels. Elio Dari. Does anyone think they're like so top tier? I don't think there's anyone who's like, oh yeah, they're absolutely top tier. I don't think, and no one said like they're concerning. They're not getting new models is a bit concerning, but we know that Eldar are going to stick around. They're a first edition army. They're going to be there. Yeah. The Quins could get their own codex in 10th edition. That could happen since Codex Eldari is not out, but then what about the Inari? Do they get their own codex? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. It is going to be a whole encyclopedia if it is just the Space Marine Codex. And then do they put an inflated price on that? Maybe not. Everyone gets a second codex in 11th edition? Yeah, I can see that happening. For the moment, their turnover is 1 edition every 3 years. That seems to work for them. So every year they have a new Age of Sigmar, or a new 40k, or a new like supplement game. So that's where they did Legions Imperialis. I think that's where they did like Warcry and stuff. Or Kill Team. Kill Team, that was one of them. Yeah. That was an extra thing. Which is, so 1 is top tier, 2 is strong. 3 is happy medium, 5 is concern. 4 is the weak one. Yeah, and it's always confusing when you're talking to like other YouTubers and they're like, oh, my last video was 10 of 10. And you have to remember that's a bad thing. Because every time you go on the YouTube like behind the scenes thing, it's like, hey, this video was awful, just wanted to let you know that. And like, oh, thanks. But anytime I do a video that's like, this is gonna last for a while, it's always bad. The How to Play Deathwatch, that was like my worst video according to YouTube, but it's now one of my better performing ones because all the Deathwatch players are like, oh good, someone who has a clue about Deathwatch. Right, I think we're happy that Eldar are up there. I agree with that. They're still strong. They're still versatile. Right, Dark Eldar, Sky Splinter is the way to go. I did a video comparing the Sky Splinter detachment to the previous one, the... what was it called? I don't remember its name. I haven't even used that one. Yukari. The... Real Space Raiders. That's the one. Yeah, no one's using Real Space Raiders, even casually, even for fun. People are using the Sky Splinter Assault Force, because if you're playing Dark Eldar, you almost certainly got a lot of vehicles. And the transports do well in 10th edition of 40k right now. They can do the shooting. They can do the combat. Their units are fast. Their units are pretty cheap. I know some people were complaining that they didn't get a point drop. Yeah, you can't even buy all the models in their non-legends index. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mark. The whole reason that you watch me is because I have a clue about all the armies that other people forget. Also, the fashion sense. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I haven't used my previous model that much recently. I'll have to do it in an upcoming video or something. I've just felt like this one for a while. Does the title go to freebooters? Maybe. Yeah. Right. Dark Angel, Dark Eldar, Drukari. I think they're very much a mid-faction. I'll throw it as a poll. Dark Elf in space. I don't think they've gotten super strong. I don't think they're no longer concerning. Like, they very much were concerning at the start of the edition. But now, I mean, you could win with them. You could play with them. They had like a 30-something% win rate or 40% run rate. That's fine. Yeah, we're happy with mid. Mid seems to be the way we're going. I'll just get a few more votes on it. Click the button. Clicky the button. Ooh. Oh, it keeps averaging out. I mean, at some point people are going to be like having fun with these. Like, oh yeah, we know how much you hate Space Wolves. 1. Space Wolves are super powerful. It's like, they're not. Not. Okay. With a poll like that, I think I'm very happy putting them in mid-tier. That feels right. They're not the best performing. They are doing pretty well. Which only leaves the Necrons. So they were absolutely top tier. The Catan are a bit more expensive, only a little bit. The Nightbringer Catan shard is up 40 points. That's a please do not take this level of points boost. Their biggest hit was to the Cryptex, things like the Technomancer and the Plasmamancer. Plasmancer. The Technomancer was the one that's flying, so he went with the Wraiths. Last time I did a live stream on this with like a tier list, I did mention that Wraiths alone are not a problem. They're totally fine. I was hoping that Games Workshop would change it so they hit the Technomancer with points, not the Wraiths, and they did so. Also, generally, a 5+ feel no pain on any of the units is, you know, pretty nasty. Hello, Charles. Welcome to the channel. The Plasmancer got his points up because you put him with Immortals, and then the Immortals would get on I think it was a 5+. They would get lethal hits if they had the Gauss weapons, or sustained hits if they had the Tesla weapons. That's a lot of firepower, and that's every time. Unlike with the Chaos Space Marines, where you have to take a Dark Pact and may take some, like, mortal wounds, this was all the time. Very nasty. But what they've done with this update is they've hurt the core of the army. I kind of also hope Space Wolves get better. It could be a nice way to play Deathwatch if they just get neglected. Yeah. I mean, adding like 1 Terminator in a unit, that's fun. I just don't like the werewolf aesthetic. Don't like it. Yeah. So, what do we got? Infiltrate. Oh yes, yeah, The Infinite and Divine. Everyone loves that book. It's quite a good book. I encourage you to read it, because, you know, it's great. You still think they're top tier? I've cut 1 unit from my list and they're basically still play the same? Okay. I haven't been able to play against them. I hope to play against Necrons this week. Maybe a couple of times. Yeah. I don't know if anyone likes the Lich Guard detachment. I've never seen that one played. Like, not online, not casually, not in, like, the Crusades I'm in, and there's 2 Necron players in the Crusade I'm in. They have no Lich Guard detachment being used. Yes, the Votan is stealing the Viking theme, so they have to go my werewolf. Yeah. But the core of the Necron army really got hurt. Their Immortals, they went up in points. But the warriors, the regular warriors, didn't go down in points, which is sad for them. They were really good at the start of the edition, like maybe too good, because they were getting D3+3 models back when they reanimated on an objective. Really quite powerful. And I think they're now just re-rolling 1s if you roll a 1 for reanimation, and I think that's on a D3. So you're almost always going to get 2 or 3 models back, or they can just regularly re-roll. Let's have a look at the Necron Warriors. Xenos Codex, Necron Codex. They maybe do have some issues with internal balance, yeah. It's how you get the battle line units quite right. And when they have so many varied detachments, how do you balance all those detachments? Have I gone past it? Necron Warriors. You can re-roll the dice to see how many wounds are reanimated. Yeah. Now, if we compare that to how they were in the Index, Necron Warriors in the Index, they had, well, they had D6 wounds getting back rather than D3. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And if they're on an objective, it's D3 plus 3. So you're guaranteed to get at least 4, closer to 6. Yeah, pretty nasty. I mean, yeah, they weren't expecting a buff, but 1,000 Sins sounds similar to Emperor. Am I now slurring my words because I'm speaking so fast and I've been going for so long? That may be happening. Yeah. Yeah, but worse is everything. It doesn't look like people are playing that detachment. So yeah, their core, their immortals have gotten worse. They're still going to get played. Their warriors are just quite bad. They're played casually a little bit, but not the best. They did also lose the armor penetration on their gun, which also lost a strength. What were they on? Because they used to have strength 5, Gauss Reapers, -1. Now it's strength 4, -1. Okay, they still have that, but yes, compared to 9th edition, when Gauss players were -1 AP, the Gauss Reapers were -2 AP. That was a bit much. Everyone was just taking the Reapers. They were the new thing, so Games Workshop wanted you to buy the new kit, which was the only way to get the Reapers. Yeah. It was... Reanimation has always been a pain for them. They can sometimes be a not fun army to play against. The Combat Destroyers went down in points to encourage people to take that much weaker Destroyer detachment. The Flayed ones are good in that. The Flayed ones are good generally. Better than people think. And the Hypercrypt Legion, they became Genestealer Cult, but with better shooting. They still have ways to come up 3 inches away, same as the Genestealer Cult. So, let's do a last poll for the Necrons. Egyptian zombie metal men. We've got a 1, we've got a 2. I don't think anyone thinks they've dropped so far down that they're in 4, but I'll put it as a poll option. Skeleton boys, yeah. Got at least 20 warriors you haven't built because Silver Horde is less viable now. Yeah. I can see that, I can see that. The Index rules, that was the way to play against them. Play with them, yeah. And then you put as many buffs on the Lich Guard as possible. The Lich Guard, because of the changes, that's maybe why that detachment isn't as good as it should be. Because the... What's it called? Not the Canoptic Court. Orbis... Orbis... The Behave. I behave. The Phalanx of Behaving. Where Overlords, Lich Guard, and Triarchs get bonuses. Maybe it was relying on them being as good as they were in the Index... But then they were like, okay, it's way too much to have all of this stuff on the Lich Guard. Feel no pains, invuln saves, minuses to hit. Yeah, it was a lot. I did a video on it and how to beat it. And then once we knew how to beat it, that was it. Yeah, sprayed silver, just painting, it's done. Yes. So we're thinking top tier? It might have been just something with my phone, which is near to my microphone to make everything work properly with the VTuber model and things like that. Yeah. Okay, we're thinking of putting them right up there in the top tier. Suddenly chat is going super fast for me. Whoa! There we go. There we go. Necron infiltration signal. It's probably a sign that if we're getting slight errors, it's where we should be closing off to finish, because started at 2:30 in UK time, so I have been going for 3.5 hours. That's a while. That was a while. Yeah. Mostly you can't put Technomancer on them. Yeah, that hurt quite a lot. I don't think you put any of the Cryptex on the Lich Guard now. Okay. Right, we'll put the Necrons right up at the top. They are still on par with Orcs. So I'm expecting to see, at like top tables of tournaments, Orcs versus Necrons, but we'll have to see how people do in that. Okay, we're wrapping up. If there was anything else you wanted to chat about, anything else you wanted to comment about, that's great, we can do that. Thank you very much to the people that have given tip money. welcome the 5 new people that have just become channel members. If any of you were like, oh, well, that was very nice of you to give me that, I would like to pay it forward, you absolutely can. Although we also have memberships on the Ko-fi tier list, and I'm planning on putting people who are in the... What's my middle tier called? The goods. Where is it gone? Oh, I have so many different tabs and so many things to follow. The Loyal Legionary tier list. That's going to get mentioned at the end of videos as well as being a YouTube member. So if you want to be in on that, that is entirely an option. Cult members, yeah. Yes, welcome to the cult. And my plans for this coming week, and maybe the week after. Maybe this week. So, more VTubery things, because the video where I talked about VTubers plus 40k, that did rather well. So I can expand that several times. Yeah. Then maybe some bits of beginner advice. I'll see how I can work that in together. Ascension Day is Thursday, right? Maybe not this generation. Maybe it's like 21, 24 could be Ascension Days. Hashtag not a cult. Mm-hmm. Does the VTuber model still have legs? Yes. Yes, it does. Still has legs. Still here with legs. Mm-hmm. They're still there. Oh, hello, Giran. Yeah, I know, you'd think the Auto Zeniths would be good against the meta, but what people are doing is taking Dryfax. That Inquisitor. Thank you, Rexia. Thank you very much for the $2 US. Votan might get some models. Well, they should get their jump pack dudes. They should get their scouty dudes. That's about it. Yeah. Subscribers are thralls. Subscribers are ghouls. It depends how much you want to go into the, like, Warhammer fantasy for it. Yes. If Ascension Day happens, remember me. Of course, of course. What else we got? Oh yes, I will do a sisters video. Sisters video. Because last weekend was a big Genestealer cult video, so a not as big, but quite big. Useful for tournament meta and also casual games. And then I think I'll do something nice, more wholesome, more friendly. Yeah. Yeah. Redacted codex for the Emperor Children. No, I don't think so. The plan is, because Games Workshop already said, we will be doing a Emperor's Children index. Should be about the same time as the Codex Space Marines is released. So it'll be like 2 or 3 weeks from now. That'll be when you get the Emperor's Children index. What we don't know is whether they will still have access to all of the regular stuff from the Chaos Space Marines, like the bikes, the raptors, things that the World Eaters, things that the Death Guard do not have access to. So, Mystery Codex, it's looking more like a whole revamp of Imperial Agents, because they've been pushing 2 combat patrols of them. One of them being very much Imperial Navy style. So that's where you've got your rogue traders and stuff. Yeah. When do I think the tower will get their points updated? Should be this Thursday, maybe the Thursday after. That's when I'm expecting to see it. What type of units would I like to see in the new Genestealer Cult Codex? I'm not really thinking the Genestealer Cult need more kinds of units. If we had a bit more unique pure strains, but we want to be pure strains, so we don't want the weird, you know, Yamargal faces and things like that. I've never thought like, oh, Genestealer Cult are massively lacking in unit types. Just making metamorphs better, so we can have like shooting, demolition charge, acolytes, and then combat units of them could be good. And we get a lore video about my Genestealer Cult. I've done a little bit of that one in the past. It was okay. The problem with lore videos is there's lore channels that people go to, so my lore videos don't do as well. Genestealer Cult as battle line in one detachment would be really nice. Yes. They likely get some units renamed with the Emperor's Children style, like the Hellbrutes and the Rhinos. Yeah, yeah. Ranged Genestealers. Oh, what I would like is just heavy weapons, more like the Brood Brothers stuff come over. Let's have our own cult tank, which is more like how the Orcs had a looted wagon for a while. Depending on your edition, you may or may not remember this. They had a looted wagon, which was you take it from another faction and try and make a good version. So we could have a cult tank, which is a Leman Russ, obviously. Or we could then have just, here's the Brood Brothers that don't have the head ridges. Or maybe do. Or maybe it's like, yeah, these are military dudes. Actual neophytes, but a combat. What else? Yes, heavy weapons, so we don't have to rely on the heavy weapons of them. And also, let's get some occult sentinels. Let's have the cult walker, the sentinel with the powerlifter, because that is very much an industrial vehicle. A regular thing you'd see in civilian life. That works perfectly for the Genestealer cult. So take it out of Forge World for the Imperial Guard, put it with the Genestealer cult. New Genestealer's cult, new Genestealer kill team is Brood Brothers, so that is on their mind. Good, I hope to see that as a unit. How about how do you play Crusade? I mean, I didn't think about Crusade missions, but Crusade is a... How to do that? It hasn't performed well for other channels, anything Crusade related, so I'm not super keen to try it knowing that it probably wouldn't perform well. When I have a lot of things I know will perform well anyway. So many videos to do already, I'm good for ideas. But it's a nice thought. It's a nice thought. Cheap cult buggy would be nice. Well, we do have the Ridge Runner. I think we've got the Ridge Runner already, which is like the limo. No, the Space Wolves do not want the Russ. No, not allowed. It's an Imperial Guard thing. They found it, they don't get to touch it. We don't need the tier list on screen anymore. We'll get rid of that. And that means that chat can become big again. You're no longer going to be squat. Bigger. Excellent. It's going to take a second to it stop being like black on screen. Yeah. Yeah, piloted by the Lego people. Have you seen the Necromunda Ridge Hauler? Oh, something like that as a tank? I don't know if it would work as a tank. It would just be like, it's a big truck. Yeah. Genestealer Orc Hybrids? Very niche idea. Maybe if Games Workshop was still like, oh hey, here's some fun rules to use in open play, if they had defined open play rules. Again, I did like that in like 8th edition, where it was like, this is the way to play casually. This is the way to play competitively. This is Crusade. Then there's your tournament things on top of that. Who do you think is the next Loyalist Primarch to return? Well, if you listen to one particular commenter, then every third video he does seems to be Ferrus Manus return confirmed? Question mark, exclamation mark. So, I don't know. Chorus? The Raven Guard guy, he could come back. Corvus Corax. Leman Russ, perhaps? I mean, Leman Russ's return has been foreshadowed for a while. You know, for 20 years, when it was like, oh hey, the Wolfram come back, the 13th Company's back. Yeah. Next Loyalist to return is Alfarius. Corvus has been seen in books, but also we've had, hey, when are we getting Slanesh Big Snake Man? Is he coming back? Yeah, then we need a Corvus tank. Need to get Big Flappy Bird Man. Yes, Corvus Corax, but in English is Raven Raven. Raven Bird. Blackbird Raven. Something like that. Erebus. Erebus needs to die. We need to have Erebus die. In like a battle mission. Like, oh hey, it's Chaos versus Battle Sisters, and the Battle Sisters kill him. Would be lovely. I would enjoy that so much. Raven Blackbird. Yeah, I think that's what it translates as. Okay. Right, it is now time to leave, I think. My stomach is doing the rumblies. Everyone has thrown tip money that wants to throw tip money. Everyone said hello and goodbye as they wish. Everyone's clicked on a poll. Everyone's had some fun. Everyone has participated in a tier list. Good times have been had by all. That's what I like to see. I'm going to end abruptly. Well, kind of abruptly. But it's been great to see you all, and I will do another stream later this month. My darlings and viewers, I'll see you in the next video.